searched and cleared, with some already reopening. 3 U.S. citizens, 2 Spaniards, and a Czech citizen have been detained in Venezuela on accusations of plotting to destabilize the nation through violent actions, the government announced on Saturday, noting that hundreds of weapons were confiscated. On Friday, a coalition of voting rights groups filed a lawsuit against the Alabama Secretary of State and Attorney General, challenging a policy they argue unlawfully targets naturalized citizens to prevent them from voting in the upcoming November election.
The lawsuit claims that the recent policy aiming to remove non-citizens from Alabama's voter lists undermines the fundamental right to vote.
Nigerian soldiers have rescued 13 hostages who were abducted by an extremist group in Kaduna, a state in the northwest region of the country, the Nigerian army announced.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guests and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Muted.
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Do you think that's not an extra
My
button?
dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about Kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for coffee with a dog. You make me laugh.
That remains to be seen, I guess, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Are you proud of yourself? What day is it? Oh, I know what day it is. That bad day. That one we don't like. Well, I guess I should say good morning or something. Good morning or something. It's Monday, September 16th, 2024. A day that won't live in infamy. Hopefully. Hopefully. You never know. Some bad shit could go down, and then the day will live in infamy. So maybe I shouldn't jinx it like that. I'll just start over. Good morning. How are you? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Unless you live in my neighborhood, then it's a terrible day in the neighborhood. But it's still beautiful. It's pretty and awful. Pretty awful. So, yeah, here we go. Again, I was on a gig last night when I started getting text messages and news flash alerts on my phone about another quote unquote, and in between that quote and unquote, assassination attempt, which I'm not buying. I'm not buying any of it. But I really don't want to talk about it either. And I have done no research into it. I assume I'm making some assumptions here. I am. And that could mean I'm an ass, according to the old cliche. You make an ass out of you and me. Both of us. We're all asses. You're an ass. Good morning. Goodbye. Have a great day. I'm assuming this alleged shooter, who did not even shoot, from what I've read, is still alive. If you know anything about organized crime, let's just put it this way: the objective is to bring the guy back alive, so you can beat the shit out of him and get him to confess or tell you who paid him, what it was all about. So I'm assuming this person who never shot at Trump, according to what I read, and didn't even take a first shot. According to what I read, now I could be reading bullshit. I put that out there. I did not read it from any credible news source because I have not investigated it that deeply yet. And I don't really have the ambition to. I'm just worn out by this shit. But from what I read, the Secret Service shot him, or shot at him. I don't know. I just don't know. And I just wish this Shitler would go away and get the fuck out of my consciousness, and I never have to think about him again. But I do think you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. You put out a lot of hate. You constantly build your world about putting out hate. Eventually, some hate's going to come back to you. That's my position on it. Now, you can, especially if you've researched it and know more about it, you can come back with different opinions and attitudes about it. I don't care. I don't fucking care. I had a weird weekend, and I hope you had a better weekend than me. Listen, Friday night was fun. Mikey and I played a acoustic gig at a place we haven't played before in Smithtown, New York. Now, we've been kind of ostracized from Smithtown for a couple of years since our friend Fred, who had us there, we were a staple in that area of Smithtown. Fred just got a little ambitious with the music and got himself in trouble with the town and the residents, and cut off all the music over there. I think it's back, but we're not back over in that place, in Fred's old place, which Fred is not part of anymore. It's a whole long story. But we were back in that area, and lots of people who used to come to see us at Fred's place were there. It was a kind of a weird venue in that it's split. It's a barroom restaurant, and there's a wall that separates the bar from the restaurant, and the music, acoustic music, plays in the bar side of it, which is kind of like a long cylinder, like a shoebox, which is not conducive to being really intimate with the people and getting everybody like feeling like they're part of the show, which is what we do. It was a little weird, but it was good to see people again. For me, I felt like our performance was really good. We were really, and I don't say this a lot. Because I generally don't feel this way. I think we were really good Friday night. Then I had a gig by myself on Saturday, which again I thought went pretty well. I thought performance-wise was really well. And then yesterday, the Long Island Family Festival in Tanner Park, which is just a weird thing. Now, I talked about how the Elvis impersonator, was going to be stealing our stage. It did not happen yesterday because it seems like the Elvis impersonator, who had been stealing our main stage for several years now, either maybe he died on the toilet. I don't know. Maybe that's a little harsh. Isn't that a little harsh? He's not there anymore. The band Easy Street was on the small stage where they rightfully should be because of seniority, but they were really good. They were really good. Great voices. At least two of the people had great voices. Whatever. Two great voices is a lot. It's a lot. They were good. And they were on before us. But it's Sunday afternoon now. And after 3 days of music and entertainment there, people are just burnt out. And so, you got your Beetlejuice, you got your Frankenstein characters walking around, you got kids on the rides, the roller coasters, and the whoop-de-whoops and the whip-de-whaps, and the bims and the drops and all of the games and stuff. And nobody give a shit about the music. And we're the last band. And so it's kind of like, what are we even doing here? No, but there's a few, and dare I say, old people they're probably my age, but they act my age, and that's not a good thing. Older folks, boomers who should be kind of checking out, they should be doing two things. They should be making burial plans or plans for after they pass, and they should be checking out nursing homes or at least retirement communities. Those are the people that were there, yes, and little children. Not exactly my crowd. Not exactly who I'm looking to impress or play music for. And for whatever reason, Mikey seemed to be doing some hallucinogenics or something. He doesn't. Mikey's not a guy. He doesn't partake. But he seemed to be lost several times yesterday. Like even starting off. I'm not sure what that was about. Could have been the sound of the sound system just throwing him off, whatever. He just seemed to not this is his first time. He's been doing it for 25 years now with the Rockin' 45s. Seemed like this was his very first gig. Anyway, and during that, I started to get the news of this thing that happened that I'm not even going to really want to talk about, really. I'm just sick of it. But that's a distraction. And so, then come home, have to do some work for the upcoming week on this stuff, and then didn't get to sleep again. So I'm like a shot old man on a Monday morning, grumpy. I do have a conspiracy theory I would like to share with you. It has nothing to do with politics. For many, many years, I've said I'm not a superstitious person, right? I've said that, but there's a big butt in there, and it's my big butt, my big fat butt. I had a lucky shirt. I had a lucky shirt that I would save for when gigs were important. It was a new place, or there was a something. For some reason, I thought this was a big gig. I break out the lucky shirt, and my lucky bolo. And then about 8 years ago or so, I could not find my lucky shirt and hadn't seen it in all those 8 years. No, my wife didn't know what happened to it. I couldn't imagine how I lost my shirt because I'm not a gambler. How would I lose my shirt? I am a little bit of a gambler in some way, but I try not to be a gambler. Anyway, yesterday I opened my closet to get a shirt for the gig, and there was my lucky shirt. My lucky shirt. How did it get in the closet? Listen, I have not done laundry in 16 years. That's not because I'm a lazy piece of shit husband, although I am that. But my wife doesn't let me do the laundry because she thinks I'm going to fuck it up. She doesn't trust me to do laundry correctly, to push the right buttons on the machine, not to put bleach in when I shouldn't put bleach in, and put the right amount of... She doesn't trust me. She thinks I'm a fuck up. And she knows I'm a fuck up. She doesn't think. She knows. So there's my lucky shirt. She's playing dumb as to how my lucky shirt got. You're the only one who does laundry around here. But I realized that it's the same I get when I ask whose chickens they are. So here's my conspiracy theory. I believe my wife bought these fucking chickens because they love her. They're her chickens. For some reason, but she's playing dumb. She's playing dumb just like she's playing dumb with the shirt. And I realized that after I questioned it, like, how did my shirt get in the closet? Hey, wait a minute. I know that. It's the same that you give me when I ask where the chickens came from. I think she bought the chickens. That's what I think. Because nobody's complaining about their lost chickens. Yesterday morning, she's out there socializing with the chickens. They're like jumping on a lap and stuff. She's out and sitting and the chickens are just, mommy. They're her chickens. And I'm going to prove it in a court of law or something, or a court of podcasting, or a court of digital broadcasting. I'm sorry. I said a dirty word. Anyway, Stephen Ortiz is still not with us. He's still what he's doing is he's learning the art of texting from middle school girls, because that's what he does. He texts like a middle school girl constantly, all day, all night. I'm going to play text message with everybody I know in my contacts. And just write, oh, I got a bubble on my ass. Oh, I got a... did you... every single thing. Oh, a cloud just passed. Let me send the text to everybody I know. That kind of thing. He's still... whatever he does with these kids. He says he's substitute teaching. I have my suspicions there, too. Maybe has something to do with my shirt. Anyway, he's not with us. But the other two members of the Dog Pound are with us, and we'll say hello to them and see how they're... I think they actually enjoy Steven's constant texting. Both of them. They encourage it. And this is bad behavior. I'm probably going to have to sit down and beat the shit out of all three of them at once. That's what I'm going to have to do after I get high.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Get it started now. Now. You want to get it started now. Ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now are the fabulous Citizen Kane, Ron Kane, and my best friend of 37 years, the fabulous A-B Testing. A-B.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Are you so loathsome, so despicable, so hated that people keep trying to kill you? Well, Matt, sorry. Well, you come to the right place. Shop MindDogTV.com for all of your body armor needs. Ceramic plates, ceramic mugs, XL and 2XL, very small, very small caliber repellent t-shirts. Be
all
safe.
Right.
Be safe, even if you can't be likable. MindDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries.
Thank you for going out of your way to create a very interesting morning welcome to the folks and get them to buy shit, because they're not buying enough shit. But yeah, no, people are trying to kill me constantly. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I did get I got nicked by an AR-15 bullet right in my foreskin. Unfortunately, it did take Steven's bottom lip clearly off. So I know that's very mean and sad. I think both you guys encourage bad behavior with Steven. If you reply to him, he's just going to keep texting all day long and I think you guys enjoy it. I think there's a problem with both of you. I think you're insane. I think that's the problem. Any response? Any reply? Any denial?
You confused me when you said you think. So I'm lost.
No, you've been charged with a crime. I don't know exactly what the crime is. Well, the crime is encouraging texting. That's the crime.
No, I think we're just sharing the wealth. That's all we're doing.
Oh, okay. It looks like he's thinking, but it doesn't look like anything's coming out.
I don't know if there's a difference between... I'm trying to figure out the difference between encouraging and just not discouraging.
Oh, yes. There's definitely... Because the more you say, oh, go ahead, and then you come back and you react, then he just does it all day long. And I understand he surrounds himself with middle school girls, and this is who he wants, and is emulating middle school girl behavior. But God, man, who has time for all these texts? You guys. That's who has time for all these texts.
Well,
you two.
Look at the timestamps on when the texts are, because I don't know how often people text back. I mean, I'll look at my phone. I'll go to pick up my phone to do something that says I've missed 8 texts. Texas?
Yeah, Texas.
I've missed 8 Texas, and I'll go, oh, okay, there's another Texas.
Yeah, in between setup and first set, I got you. 18 text messages. I was like, what the fuck? 18 text messages. Usually, I reserve text messaging for my wife saying the house is burning, or something.
I bought more chickens. I bought some chickens. Is that okay? And then you don't respond back and say she goes, must be okay. So
You know that you might be onto something there. I really feel like she's playing dumb about these chickens intentionally, because I think they're her chickens. They treat her like she bought them, like they're her mommy. So I don't know.
I think, you know what I think happened? I think that she worded it in such a way that you thought she was bringing home dinner. And she says, hey, honey, I'm bringing home chicken tonight. And you went, okay.
You know, I got to look through my messages. If that's the case, that might be the case.
You said, okay, great. I love chicken.
Yeah.
So,
how many pieces can you eat? 5. Give me 5.
Yeah, and that's it. So I think if you go back to your messages, you'll find out that not only did you consent to
chickenry.
Chickenry.
That's what we call it. The art of chickening. Chickenry.
Yes, to animal chickenry. And you also probably gave her amnesty for the shirt.
Oh, you know what? That shirt mystery. And she's playing dumb about the shirt. But the shirt just didn't.
Does she know that is your lucky shirt? So if you say to her, my lucky shirt, she knows what shirt you're talking about.
Yeah, I've actually, like, back when it first became missing, I would pull up pictures of me on gigs and say, that shirt, that's the one. Oh yeah, I remember that shirt. You remember it? Where did it go? I didn't just come home from a gig one night without my shirt. But now it's there. So
could her boyfriend been wearing it so that he could get lucky with her, and then they broke up, so she brought the shirt back to you?
No.
Look, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. No, I could be wrong.
I don't see any spitballs.
Oh yeah, I have 2 spitballs.
All right. We have our first guest this morning, Jason Pike, has rescheduled. So I'm giving him the nickname Turn Pike. Probably the first time he's ever heard that, but he's not going to be here this morning. So we'll do the Monday movie talk early. And then we have Jay France in the second hour. Jay is a music producer from Nashville, Tennessee. And we'll talk all about the art of production engineering and what it takes to be a music producer, which I'm interested in. And I think there are people out there who are also interested in.
Survey says 3.
Yeah. But I just want to know, you guys probably know more, at least you know something about what happened yesterday. I don't know anything. I got the text messages. I heard there was a shooting near them, and then all I got was Twitter stuff because I was working. So I did not read any real news reports. I don't really know anything about the real story. Do you have anything you would like to express about what you know about yesterday's event?
The only thing what I said to my wife was, because, okay, this is backtrack a little bit. Back in 2016, when Trump first became president, and my wife made a comment, and I explained to her that the people on the left do not assassinate people as a general rule of thumb. It's usually your right wingers that assassinate people. If you go through history, recent history. I'm not saying that there aren't lunatics on the left. I'm just saying it's a general rule of thumb. But if someone's going to assassinate Trump, it's going to be a disaffected right winger who is going to feel betrayed. They bought into the Kool-Aid. They die hard Trump, and then they will realize that, wait a minute, he doesn't believe anything. He's letting, he's fucking me over. And then they're going to be disaffected, and they're going to eventually blow their stack. This is that guy. This is that guy. It's for best I can tell.
Yeah, I would have thought that it would be somebody who just said, these sneakers aren't worth $65. Whatever.
$400.
Or $400. Yeah, the Bibles are $65. The sneakers are $400.
Now, if you want the sneakers with the Bible on the outside of it, that's like what?
Or a Bible that smells like sneakers.
Yes, that's extra money, way extra.
Right.
I think it's going to turn out to be an all big nothing.
All a big nothing.
Yeah, because they still have the guy in custody, and I think it's just going to be something he's going to get off on a technicality because it's Florida, so you can have a gun, and maybe he did something. Maybe he was just one of these guys that's all talk and kind of playing around, but didn't really do anything.
Right. They said, what I now, you guys will probably know better, but what I've read is he didn't shoot it. He didn't even shoot his gun. That the Secret Service shot at him.
He didn't get a chance to either.
No,
right.
Yeah, and we all know why this happened. Is because of that elderly boomer went on Shitter and talked bad about Tay-Tay. He shouldn't be doing that. He shouldn't be out there putting "I hate Taylor Swift" out there into the world. Look what God has done.
Now the guy had mental illness, a history of mental illness, and some gun history, right?
Oh, that's Florida. I mean, what is that? A 2?
Yeah, pretty much everybody in Florida. If we have people in Florida who haven't, we apologize to you specifically. But I think there's probably some truth to that statement.
Not only is there truth, I have anecdotal evidence that it's true.
Actually, I have a statement from Taylor Swift about that tweet that was put out about her.
Oh
yeah.
Well,
yes.
Do you want to share it now, or do we wait till later?
I can share it now. I can share it now.
I get it. Little bitch, you can't see your own dick. Hey, boomer, if you are lucky, I will sit on your face and empty my full bowels from eating chili all day into your waiting mouth. As a single mom stomps those little eggs you have into submission, you will be my little piggy. The best.
Wow. Let me just say, when I first saw that, I thought that's more attractive than I've ever seen her. That picture, I thought, wow, she looks really pretty there. And then she started talking about emptying her bowels into the mouth, and I was like, well, that's
man, she's gorgeous. Then that's what you say. She's the keeper.
No. I thought this is not for me. This is not my kind of content. This is not what
I like the way she personalized it by saying "be best."
Yeah.
That's a nice.
I think I'm going to have to start checking the box that says there is AI stuff that makes people do or say things that they didn't actually do in real life.
I never checked it. I never checked it on anything I posted. It's like, no, I don't have. I said, no.
Yeah, well, generally we don't, but I think I'm going to have to start because YouTube's going to end up detecting. Hey, wait a minute. What about the Taylor Swift saying about emptying her bowels?
I put a nice video out there yesterday with the former Queen of England.
Now that would be interesting. How you got that video from the dead woman?
Maybe obviously it was before she died.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Yeah. Now the Taylor Swift stuff. Well, before we go back on to Taylor Swift, I just want to say GD talked about his predictions about who the person in an assassination attempt, who that person might be. I can guarantee you with 100% complete accuracy that whoever tries an assassination attempt will have 3 names. It always happens. This guy's got 3 names now, right? Everybody is Lee Harvey Oswald, Thomas Matthew Crooks.
It turns out that when he bought the gun, he only had 2 names. And after he set the gun up and Secret Service began to pursue him, that's when he got the middle name. He didn't have it before they were in pursuit of him. As a matter of fact, he got it on his way to the SUV when he went to get away.
So if you really want to fuck up the media and you're planning on doing one of these assassins, I'm just like, I hate to give tips to assassins, but if you're planning on doing something, just lose your middle name. It will fuck with the media's head so big. They want, he's only got 2 names. What do we do? What do we make something up for that middle name?
They'll say like, and his name is James the Shark Austin,
Joey Bag of Donuts.
Yeah. James Jimmy Austin.
He said he bought the gun with a criminal record too. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But that first of all, they said, the conspiracy theories about him being deep state from the right came out big time. Here's my thing about that. if the deep state, this is the best they could do, is this Thomas Matthew Crooks guy and this guy yesterday. If that's the best they can do, you don't have anything to worry about the deep state. That means they're completely inept. They can't fucking kill one big fat turd. They can't even get close to him. You got nothing to worry about. The deep state, if that's the best they can do, they're not a threat to anybody.
That actually means, according to actual analysis and actual statistics by the FBI, deep dish pizza kills more than deep state assassins.
Very good.
Yes.
Well, so stay away from the deep dish, which I would do anyway. You know what? That's not real pizza. That's just dough with cheese and sauce on top. That's what it is. Now you got me angry at pizza. But we can transition right back to Taylor Swift here. People are arguing not over, well, I guess that's what obviously initiated it, but they're arguing over Taylor Swift as a person. And I don't know a lot about her, but I do know she's definitely somebody who takes care of people, gives back, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a big fan of her records. When they say, people arguing she's a self-made billionaire. Oh no, she's not. Her father was rich and all this stuff. The fact that people are investing so much energy into arguing over Taylor Swift, the person, really is we've lost our way. We might as well just hit the planet with the asteroid now. I mean, do you guys have an emotional attachment to Taylor Swift? Other than, what I like about her is Trump hates her. That's the only thing I like about her.
I like her business sense. I think she's been a tremendous person at marketing who she is and protecting her brand. So I admire that about her. I do not.
Does she do that, or
whoever does that? I admire that person.
Right.
I assumed it was her, but it could be her manager. But she's smart enough to allow them to do it and to buy into it. So, and she keeps it off stage, I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about her other than that. I don't listen to her music.
Yeah,
once in a while I hear a song and someone go, "That's Taylor Swift." Oh, okay. Then I've heard that song 1,900 times.
I know a couple of the titles of her songs only because but I would not know the song unless somebody pointed it out, like you just said. If somebody said, "Oh, that's Taylor," oh, okay, I don't know.
Right. I've heard like the title "Shake It Off." I've heard that used in punchlines by comedians like 3 years before I ever heard the song.
Right. When something happened with Apple iTunes a couple of years ago, like I'm probably going back like 8, 9 years ago now, where my phone got updated and I got 2 free Taylor Swift songs that were part of my playlist on my Apple iTunes, and I couldn't get rid of them. So every time I opened up iTunes, that song would come on, and I didn't know I still couldn't tell you how it goes. It was like annoying. I would spend the whole song trying to figure out, how do I get this off? I want to listen to my playlist, the music I added on here. I don't want to listen to this. So that probably would have made me hate her long before any of this other stuff. But I don't hate her. I think, I have no feelings about her at all, other than I like the fact that she tweaked Trump to say I hate Taylor Swift. Now that's just a insane thing for a 70-year-old.
I like
78-year-old man.
I admire artists who can whose fan base become like their own entity and their own name, like the Swifties for Taylor Swift, the Beehive for Beyonce, the K-Hive for Kamala Harris. My fans just get called
one more. Crack the sky, as in what you put in your pipe.
Yeah, crack addicts. Yeah, that's okay. But and
my
fans have been called idiots, and I just don't like that. I wish they could be called like Fendies or something, but they're just called idiots. And so I admire the people who have fans with cool nicknames. That's
Yeah.
And I've also read a lot of things that even after she's come out and said that she supports Harris, even her conservative fans have said they don't give a shit because she doesn't force it down their throats. She's like, this is who I'm endorsing, and that's kind of it.
Her dad, who has been her manager, is a Trumper. I know, because I've seen there was a video of them arguing about her.
I didn't even know she had a dad.
Yeah, her dad is kind of responsible for her career, just like a lot of these people who start as children. Dad, you can go back to the Jackson 5. It's dad is instrumental in getting them started, making the business connections and all that stuff. I think he's still very active in her career. I don't know that, but I do recall in the last election cycle, she wanted to come out as anti-Trump, and she had to get her father's permission. She was actually crying, arguing with her father over, he refuses to sign an anti-stalking bill, and she's like, "Hello, stalking? How often do I have to deal with this issue? This guy's not gonna, support that." So I remember that very clearly. And the father was saying, his thing is, it was bad for, don't get political because it's bad for your, selling records. I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Look, at her level, she can afford to be political. I know that when I was doing comedy, I started in 2015, the end of 2014 is when I started doing comedy, and I did a lot of political stuff, but it wasn't slanted toward one side or the other. I did whoever was being stupid in the news, that's who got it, and I did my first quote special, and I did jokes about Obama and about Hillary Clinton, and about Donald Trump. Fine. And then when Trump won, and he started being the focus of stupidity, and I began to point that out, I lost like almost half of my fan base because they were Trumpers.
Wow.
And at that point, that means I lost like 50 or 60 people. You know what I'm saying? No. But what I'm saying is, I didn't have I was just starting out. I didn't have a huge fan base,
In music, though, if you look at the most successful artists of all time, almost all of them, sans Michael Jackson, got political. The Beatles, Elvis Presley got political. He went to the White House and he wanted to become I think he did become some kind of honorary Fed in some way.
Right. That was Nixon, I think, that did that.
Yeah, Madonna. We could look at all these people who've sold billions and billions of records, and everybody except Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson might not have got overtly political, but he was definitely somebody who was looking towards world issues, and especially like hunger and all those kind of things, and drought, and trying to do something at least proactive with music to raise money for those people. But
so he was
I don't know,
socially conscious than political.
Right. All right. That's fair. That's a good way to put it. Thank you. So, yeah, I mean, this idea that, and Bob Dylan's success, and Bob Dylan's one of the greatest earners of all time. His catalog is worth a lot. He built his career on politics, on being part of the civil rights movement. So to people who are saying, "Oh, music, you just do music. There's no place in music for politics." Hello, every great artist, every great selling artist, anyway, every great commercial artist has had some dabblings in politics, and some of them more. The Beatles' Revolution, I mean, you don't get any more political than that statement right there. So, get a grip.
Yeah, like some things weren't political, but social awareness, and then musicians got attacked for it, which forced them into being political as opposed to just socially aware.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, if you had a band, I can't remember. If in theory, if you had a band with some kind of controversial name and you had a song called "Fuck the Police," okay, that's actually not political. That's more social commentary. But then you get forced into becoming political because
who was it? Ice-T, or one of the T's had the Cop Killer, right? Cop Killer, and then he started playing a cop on television. I think. I think
Ice-T was played a cop on television probably to this day. He just doesn't know it anymore.
Yeah. Now, somebody said that this is that's just trying to kind of pick apart this nonsense talk back and forth. This is the first time in the history a president has ever come out against a pop star like that. That's not true either. Nixon against John Lennon was a very popular feud. Nixon trying to get John Lennon deported and all that kind of stuff. So it's not.
And I think that the whole thing with Nixon was that he was mainly upset that when John Lennon and Yoko Ono had that record, give Peace a Chance, that everybody, they had like 900 people on that album, and Richard Nixon wanted to be on the album, and they said there's no more room. And then he added Tommy Smothers after they turned down Nixon and said he didn't have any room. That's when he got upset. That's a little known fact that people don't know about John Lennon and Richard Nixon. Most people don't know that fact, but it's a fact.
Yeah. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. That's all.
Except for when they're true. And it's all true except Denver.
All right.
I have a clip from the Emmys last night that wasn't shown.
I have a clip from my animal last night that wasn't shown. Oh, okay. Yeah, now the Emmys, before we show this clip, didn't the Emmys used to happen in February?
Maybe.
I think it got thrown off by the pandemic, right? I don't know. Maybe this is weird. For next year. Maybe this is next year's Emmys, and they're just early.
I think Emmys always happened earlier, didn't they? I don't, because this originally awards season was what, like February, March.
February.
Yeah. But now it's like all year.
All right.
It's like a comedy festival on Long Island.
Do we need any no information before you're just going to play the clip?
Yeah,
What most people don't know about me is I enjoy setting house fires. I've always gotten cold easily, so setting a house on fire quickly warms the area. At first, the screams used to get to me, but now it's almost like listening to Billie Eilish.
Listen, that kind of hits close to home. Somebody I know who passed away recently. She
Billie Eilish fan.
Let me tell the story before you just heckle me. You fucking heckler. Sit down. I'll have you thrown out of the club. Somebody I know, she was married to. She married above her league financially. She was living well-to-do, and then her husband left her for a younger, more attractive woman, and she couldn't pay the bills on this mansion she was living in, and didn't have any heat. In the middle of winter, she decided to start a fire on her bedroom floor, not even in the fireplace, on the bedroom floor, to keep warm. She started a fire on her bedroom floor, and of course, the house burnt down. But I laugh, but it was just so insane at the time. Like, who would think? I know what I'll do. I'm cold. I'll call a friend, call somebody. You could have called me. Could have called me and my wife. We would have said, "Come over here, and tomorrow we'll get oil or whatever for you."
She probably didn't know how to open the flue in the chimney in the fireplace, and didn't want to get the smoke all over the
Probably
house.
didn't know how to. That's what I was thinking, that she didn't know how to. But still, you don't start a fire on your bedroom floor. You call, can I come over there? I have no heat and whatever. Do something other. That can't be your first choice, is to start a fire on a wood floor in your bedroom, and not think, well, this could get out of control. So
is this person's name Left Eye? Is that the person? And that how that fire got started in, was it Georgia? What was her name? Left Eye, that rapper?
Rafael Lopez? I don't know. No, this is not that. This is somebody close to my family. Anyway, she's passed now. But that thing about Tom Cruise, I like to start house fires. What possesses you to open up AI and Tom Cruise is there, and I'm going to make Cruise say he likes to start house fires. Well, how does that thought? I'm just curious about the mental process.
Oh, it's just stuff that I was playing around with. I actually have one of Will Smith saying the same thing too, but I like the Tom Cruise one just slightly better.
So, all right, just something there. Celebrities house fires. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Hey, with everything going on.
When I found G.D. Fenderson with a dog and an empty container of peanut butter, I knew our nation would be tested. I was tested. Has G.D. disgraced the laws of nature? I am not only saddened, but realized he is a sick son of a bitch.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That explains a lot. I mean, honestly, for the past 6 or 7 years, I've had these dreams that when my wife was like best friends with Michelle Obama, and she would never let me meet, Barack. Matter of fact, they called him Barry. And every time Barry would come in the room, Carol would find some reason to get me out of the room, so I would never meet Barack Obama. Now I know why. Thank you for that footage. I did not know that he felt that way about me.
Well, back when the Secret Service was capable, I had some run-ins with them over Michelle Obama. We were leaving the Waldorf Astoria, and she was coming into the Waldorf Astoria, and I wanted to take my van full of equipment out because we just finished a weekend gig there, and she was pulling in, and the Secret Service were brutal. I mean, throwing me up against the wall, surrounding me, just because I wanted to move my car. Literally had me. They were treating me like I was going to assassinate her or something. They threw me up against the wall, standing around me, all with the military style weapons, surrounded me in a circle while the car pulled in. And she, like, what the fuck, man? I'm not armed. They knew I wasn't armed. They, established.
Yeah, but they knew that you would have dropped her off the roof if you had a chance. And she was wearing loose-fitting shoes. That's what they were concerned about.
I'd have to get her in the elevator, or but the Secret Service. I'm just the point I'm making. They were really proactive in protecting her to an extreme. I thought extreme because I was there with a bunch of hairdressing girls. Girls.
Not to be offensive, Matt, but to be honest, I've seen her arms, and I think if the two of you were like in an elevator or like in hand-to-hand combat, I'd pick her. I think she'd take you out.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay. So I don't even know why she has Secret Service. I think she could take you.
Right. Well, anybody could take me at this point. Anybody could. Yeah. I don't know. So let's talk about, I don't know if you want to do it just yet, but with 47 minutes in, why not? Our guest's going to come in. Let's devote 15 minutes or 13 minutes to this thing you made me do, and that's watch this film called The Little Things with Denzel Washington and some dude named Malik something. Malik Bug-Eye or whatever. Rami Malik, yeah.
So obviously he cannot be an assassin yet. He needs a third name.
Well, yeah. I up until Saturday night, I thought, well, I've never seen anything in Denzel Washington's career that hasn't been worth watching. And then I watched that, and I was like, what the fuck is this stupid movie? Now, I should have downloaded a trailer, but again, I didn't do my homework. But there were so many holes in this thing. I don't know. I came across my wife. I said to my wife, "What did you take away from that fucking movie? What was the fucking point they're trying to say?" And she thought that proves that anybody, even with the best of intentions, can be corrupted by trying to save their own ass and all that stuff, which is all right. But there are so many things that would never happen. I don't know how deep we want to get into ruining it for people or spoiling it about telling what happens. But my takeaway,
as deep as you want to go, because I didn't watch the movie. I just wanted to see if I could get y'all to watch it.
You motherfucker!
I didn't watch it either. I completely forgot about it.
No, I did watch it. I honestly did watch it.
All right.
I didn't remember until you started talking about it this morning. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Here's my biggest problem with the movie. There is a part in the movie where there is a suspected serial killer, and the cop who suspects him is not only getting in a car with him and driving into the middle of nowhere to supposedly dig up a body that was missing, but he also turns his back on the guy several times. He lets the guy get behind him. This is nothing. A cop who suspects this guy is a serial killer is never getting in a car with him to drive into the middle of nowhere. That's never going to happen, no matter what the circumstances. You can't make me believe that you've lost my movie-going suspension of disbelief now. I'm just going to argue that would never happen. This cop would have to be a fucking idiot to do that. And then to let him get behind him and all that kind of stuff and just like nonchalant. Don't even try to sell me this at this point. I'm just angry now.
I honestly think that scene was done to get people
Like
nervous.
me, angry? Oh.
No, not angry, but like, oh, come on. He's going to shoot him now. No, and he doesn't shoot him. It's like, he's going to choke him. No, and it doesn't happen. So I think that's what that scene is. I don't think that scene, I think when they shot the scene initially, it was like slow moving and no tension. And they said, we need some tension. Walk around them. Create some tension.
Well, I was going to start by saying you guys got a lot of nerve to say The Godfather is a slow-moving movie, and when this is what
I've never watched The Godfather, so I can't say it's a slow-moving movie.
Actually, there are many fun murders in The Godfather. I mean, there's a lot of killing going on. And there's things, if you know about the movie, that are really interesting. Like Gianni Russo was hated by everybody. And there's a scene where James Caan beats the fuck out of him. And it's in the movie. But James Caan was seriously beating the fuck out of him because he hated the fucking guy. Everybody hated him. And so it got raves for being a incredibly realistic fight scene. Or it felt like James Caan was really He was totally fucking him up. I mean, he's biting him. He's fucking hitting him with a trash can and enjoying it. And supposedly, from what the movie that came out about the behind the scenes stuff, everybody on the set applauded when he beat the fuck out of him. Like when it was over, like, thank you, yeah, beat the fuck out of that asshole.
Now, did the guy who was being beat not realize that he's like, wait, whoa, you're not holding your punches. You're not pulling your punches. What the fuck?
According to him, I could get him on the show. He's still alive, and I could definitely get him on the show. He follows me on Facebook. I did not follow him back. Gianni Russo. He was one of these Frank Sinatra wannabe singers in the 70s, like a late coming Italian Victor Moan type of guy, but he was a known woman abuser. They named Guinea Tea after this guy because he would get drunk, wear one of those t-shirts, and beat women. He supposedly bullied his way into the production, and nobody liked him. So he knew, and to this day, he claims that he won that, or he could have kicked James Caan's ass. Nobody believes that. He's just a bullshit artist, and nobody liked him. But and he's got some of the most brutal beatings in the movie. And yeah, so no, I think he knew everybody didn't like him right from the start. He knew Al Ruddy, who was the executive producer, didn't like him. I don't know how he got himself into the movie with Al Ruddy succumbing to the Colombo family, saying, "Yeah, put him in." I think he had some ties to the Colombo family. Anyway, yeah. So the point I was making was The Godfather is so much more action in it than this fucking movie, which was just like, when is something gonna happen here? I was disappointed. I think it's poorly written, and I'm disappointed in Denzel Washington for actually taking the part. Now, he's always good. He was good in the movie, but I think it was poorly written and just like a nothing movie. I could see why nobody heard of it before. That's my take on it.
I forgot when it came out. Would it come out in like 2022? I think
2021. Yeah,
2021. Because when my wife said, "I don't think I ever heard of this movie," and like it's been 3 years. Like I said, neither have I.
So as this kind of thing goes on, and we watch movies and talk about them, are you going to take some effort into putting something in that's worthwhile, worth fucking watching?
Well, the next one is Misery Loves Comedy.
Oh, a week late, but okay.
Well, that was the one I was supposed to do this week, and I think something happened and maybe changed my mind. I don't know what it was. Honestly, I can't tell you what it was.
You know what? Let me hit a B right here, right now. I just want to say I've reached out to Kelly. Kelly Carlin is supposed to be on Wednesday night, but the last time I talked to her was 2 months ago. And when we picked the date, and I sent her a thing, I hope we're still on for Wednesday night. She hasn't responded yet. So I'm just going to clip this and just kind of like passively aggressively nudge her on social media and tag her in this little clip that I'm making. Kelly, I'm telling people you're on Wednesday night. If you don't show up, It's not going to make just me look bad. People are going to expect you to be here, and then they're going to be mad at you as well.
Now, just to take her side just a little bit. I don't know her, so I don't even know if she wants me on her side.
No,
But
nobody wants you.
Okay, because the way you sent that text, it says like, "Oh, we still on for Wednesday night." Almost sounds like a date. Does she know that you're not like some suitor who's just trying to? Like...
Yeah. I've showed her that I leave my creepiness at home.
Oh, okay, all right. I just like I said, are we still on for Wednesday night? Sounds like a guy on a blind date or something. Say, hey, are we still going out on Wednesday night? No, so
I sent it with the link to StreamYard. I mean, it wasn't like, let's meet at
okay. Look, that's what I'm saying. I was
some outdoor cafe in downtown LA, or whatever. See, that's my creepiness. I just left that at home, but I am at home. So
now, just in the past few minutes, while you were saying that, Ron has created another AI.
No, he said that's the Queen one that he had talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Have you ever opened your throat to God? I haven't, because I can't enough of these devil balls. So succulent and sweaty. It reminds me when Prince Andrew would get back from trips with his friend Geoffrey. He would be so sweaty and relaxed. He would amuse me by allowing me to crush his balls.
That was the old footage, because that happened a long time ago.
I just want to say, if you love the Queen Mother, you're one of these people in the UK who just adored her. I apologize for this. I'll give you Ron's address. I'll give you his email address. I'll give you his home address. I'll give you his phone number. Please don't. I did not approve of this. I wasn't even shown it. And I love the Queen Mother. Me and her, we go back several hundred years. But I apologize, because there are people who just adore her. She's bigger than Taylor Swift in the UK. I don't know if you know that. And so I don't know.
Well, there's plenty of people that do not like her.
No, I know that. Carl used to walk past Buckingham Palace and say, "Is she dead yet?" to the guards. I know there are a lot of people who hate her, but a lot of the blue bloods who are for whatever it's worth. The people in the hairdressing, the people who love red carpet hair, the English elite hairdressers, who I know, they just adored her. Everything royal family is just fascinating to them. They're in love with the monarchy. I don't get it, but I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of their passion for her. That's what I fear. Anyway, so yeah, the next hour we're going to meet Jay France, who's a record producer in Nashville. Now, do you think anything besides bro country, modern country, is being produced in Nashville?
Hatred.
Huh?
I think they're producing Hatred in Nashville also, but I'm not.
No, I mean music-wise.
Oh. I have no idea.
That's one thing I'm curious. He's just fucking doing AI movies and where I thought we were out of space. Somehow we're getting new. Oh, he took the Queen out and puts in. I don't know, who is that? Is that Ariana Grande? Is that who that is?
Yeah, she was asked a question at the Emmys last night because she popped up.
Admittedly, I wasn't racist before I met GD. His personality is not only awful, but he told me a joke once and it made me become a white nationalist. If I ever see Matt Napo in public again, there will be hell to pay.
I don't remember ever being in public. I've been in pubic, but I've never been in public. Wow, there will be hell to pay. How much does hell charge?
I don't know.
I don't know if I can afford it, to be honest with you. I'll just go into debt.
Maybe you can get the Okeechobee discount.
Okeechobee. Yeah, maybe.
Uncle Chokey discount.
Here's the deal now. I paid $1.91 a gallon to fill up on Saturday at the Puspatak. Are you jealous? Are you envious? Do you want to be me? Is that the
No, it would take a hell of a lot more than that for me to want to be you.
All right. That's fair.
A discount on gas does not cut it.
All right. What do you pay? What do you pay a gallon? Because the average here is under $3. I don't know if you know that. On Long Island, it's about anywhere between $2.69 and $2.85 a gallon here, which is for regular.
Well, actually, my gas is really, really cheap. I go to a place up not too far from here. It's a mall parking lot, and I just have the straw, this long rubber hose, and a bucket, and I just get free gas. So
I thought your lips smelled a little flammable.
You think they smell flammable now? You should have saved me after date night.
Right. Still never saw The Godfather. You people are just communists. That's all. You're communist, fascist, Nazi, whatever. You're everything all wrapped in one. See The Godfather. I promise you, you will want to join the mob. No, yeah. Well, it did have that effect on my neighborhood, but my neighborhood was fucked up to begin with. I'm going to play news here because it's time, and then hopefully Jay Franz will be here. Are you ready for the news? We're here now with the news. Is our good friend Al something.
Nigerian soldiers have rescued 13 hostages who were abducted by an extremist group in Kaduna, a state in the northwest region of the country, the Nigerian army announced on Saturday.
The military stated that the troops successfully overwhelmed the terrorists, forcing them to abandon their captives. Several of the kidnappers were killed, while others were apprehended, the army added. The statement did not specify the armed group to which the kidnappers were affiliated. Benjamin Wright reporting.
On Friday, a coalition of voting rights groups filed a lawsuit against the Alabama Secretary of State and Attorney General, challenging a policy they argue unlawfully targets naturalized citizens to prevent them from voting in the upcoming November election.
The lawsuit claims that the recent policy aiming to remove non-citizens from Alabama's voter lists undermines the fundamental right to vote by using inaccurate information that discriminates against naturalized citizens, disenfranchises eligible voters, and improperly refers cases for criminal prosecution. Jessica Oakley reporting.
3 U.S. citizens, 2 Spaniards, and a Czech citizen have been detained in Venezuela on accusations of plotting to destabilize the nation through violent actions, the government announced on Saturday, noting that hundreds of weapons were confiscated.
Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello stated that the 5 individuals were suspected of planning an assault on President Nicolas Maduro and his administration. These arrests occur amid growing tensions between Venezuela and the U.S. and Spain over the disputed July 28th presidential election in Venezuela. Paul Gomez reporting.
A new series of bomb threats targeted 3 medical facilities and an unnamed 4th location in Springfield, Ohio on Saturday, officials reported.
Authorities stated that the facilities have been searched and cleared, with some already reopening. The identified targets include Springfield Regional Medical Center, Ohio Valley Surgical Hospital, and Kettering Health Springfield. The Springfield Police Division has increased its staffing in response to the threats, which are linked to unverified claims concerning the Haitian migrant community. Liam White reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
DirecTV has restored channels from Disney, including ESPN and ABC, after both parties reached a new agreement less than 2 weeks after the service was interrupted for the satellite TV provider.
The companies made a joint announcement on Saturday morning, prior to the start of college football games at noon. DirecTV ceased airing Disney-owned channels on September 1st. Over 11 million subscribers had lost access to Disney stations during the disagreement. The distribution deal will feature new bundles of Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN Plus streaming services. Kevin Sanders reporting.
An Indianapolis man has been sentenced to 60 years in prison for a road rage incident on the highway that resulted in the death of a central Indiana man who was heading home after a lengthy work shift.
Dion Kimbrough, 24, was sentenced by a Marion County judge on Friday after being convicted in August of murder and unlawful firearm possession by a serious violent felon in the killing of Eli Hickerson. Prosecutors stated that Hickerson, 30, from Carthage, was a passenger in a car on July 18, 2022, when Kimbrough shot him. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Over 44 years after a nursing student was murdered in her trailer home in central Kansas, her former neighbor has been sentenced to 10 to 25 years in prison for the crime.
The case concerning the January 24, 1980, shooting death of Mary Robin Walter, 23, in Great Bend had gone cold until 2022, when a detective convinced Barton County Sheriff Brian Bellendire to reopen the investigation and employ modern technology and methods that were unavailable at the time. Kyle Norris reporting.
A man from Minnesota has been sentenced to over 33 years in prison for fatally stabbing his wife during a Bible study session.
Robert Castillo, 41, who admitted guilt to second-degree murder in March, expressed remorse in court on Friday for killing his wife, Corinna Woodhull, as reported by the St. Paul Pioneer Press. Married for about 2 years, they had 5 children, aged 11 to 24. Castillo whispered something to Woodhull, and after she shook her head no, he drew a hunting knife and stabbed her multiple times until his own family subdued him. Jim Kender reported.
And that's the latest news headlines.
Get the fuck. Well, wait a minute. He had 2 years. They were married 2 years, have 5 children. That's kind of like, what? Huh? All right. So they were fucking a lot.
And the ages of the kids were like, what, 5 to 30?
Yeah.
You know,
5 to 69 or something. The guy, first of all, who takes a fucking hunting knife to Bible study? The Bible study.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is what I took out of it. They said he whispered something into her ear. They don't say what that is. They just said that she said no, and he stabs her.
What do you?
I want to know what the question was.
Yeah.
How important was the? How important was that
in Bible study? Like, what could he? Yeah.
There's a lot of begetting in this Bible. What do you think we should, tonight? What do you think? No.
No begetting. Yeah. What could he? What? I mean, it's just so confusing. Find out. Does not know. Did she not live long enough to? Hey, what did he whisper? I don't know. What could make that really funny? I don't know. Or what something that he whispered at you? It's not funny. He killed her. He stabbed her to death. Stabbing is
he could have said
stabbing very personal. Stabbing is a very personal crime.
That's what I want to know. What did he say? Did he say like, my birthday's coming up. How about anal? No. In
Bible study again.
Yeah. And they probably could have been in one of the Old Testament parts where they talk about bestiality and fornication and all these things that are supposed to be sins. And he goes,
And just so, here we go. People say, "Oh, another fucking weird part of Mind Dog's life." As somebody who has been stabbed, I can tell you,
Bible study?
Not in Bible study, no, in the middle of a street. But one stab generally doesn't do the trick. It doesn't, and I got basically right to my kidney. The point is, nobody in the Bible studies jumped on him and say, after the first stabbing, they jump on him and take the knife away from him. He had to have at least a couple of, it wasn't just one. One doesn't generally do the trick.
One to the jugular.
Yeah, if you get it in the right place, I suppose. But it seems to me like, where was everybody? The Bible study, was it a Bible study full of cowards? Like, oh, that's interesting. Get out your phone. Like, let's tape this and make a reel out of it or something.
Oh, he stabs her, and they go. Because if it's a real Bible study, they had to look to the Bible for answers. So it's like, what do we do? Let's turn to the good book. It's like,
or maybe they were sitting next.
No, it just reminded me, iBoss hasn't sent us our sunglasses yet. That guy seemed to have gotten his from iBoss. Fuck iBoss. That's all I'm saying. We want you to, and then don't send us the shit. What is that?
They got us to talk about iBoss for free by saying that, so we should stop it because.
Well, I'm just gonna say that weirdo in that fucking video was wearing iBoss glasses. So if you want to be a weirdo like that, order from iBoss today. That's all I'm saying.
If you want to be disappointed with product, order from iBoss.
Yeah. So yeah, that news was just full of like weird shit. That was the weirdest Monday news I've ever heard, to be honest with you. Just like full of shit. Now
that was the little thing of news.
I want to point out that our chief lingerie correspondent has pointed out many times that when the gun grab comes, it will come from the right. They're talking about Venezuela confiscating guns. Maduro couldn't. He's basically as far right as you can get.
Yes, he's Trump. He is Venezuela's Trump.
Yeah, I think Trump wants to be him.
Yes.
So yeah, and the gun grab is coming from the right. So once again, lingerie trumps politics, or Trump wears lingerie in something. I forget what I'm trying to say, but the gun grab will come from the right. Ron is right about that.
You know, speaking, I uploaded a video that I found on Instagram. Speaking of guns, I don't know what country this is from, but this is apparently this is the guy you don't want to invite to your party. And no one was killed.
And I just want to say, I didn't see the people with the camera at the gig last night, but that's Mikey in that video.
I mean, he just starts popping off rounds.
He's generally a better shot.
Okay, my thing is, first of all, there were children at that party.
Yeah,
just walking
there
around.
were.
Yeah,
not
and
anymore.
there's a guy with a gun who's not. He's not just popping. If I've been to places where people, but they kept their arm in the air. They weren't doing it. Bang, because you get confused. You know, like bang, bang, shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have said no. That's why you can't have Quran studies. That's the difference between a Quran study and a Bible study. At Bible study, they bring a knife. At a Quran study, they bring a gun. I'm sorry, Quran.
Well, it reminded me of one of those B movies. There was a maybe it was Planet B from outer space. I said, what? Plan B. The cop is like scratching his head with the gun. Like he's using the gun as a problem. Like he's scratching his head with a gun. That guy was so out of control with the arm swinging and the shots going. It's amazing that nobody got killed in that.
Yeah, I've also seen another video probably from that country. It was like some people, they were in a house. They were in a house just sitting on a couch. It was like some type of celebration. And there's a woman that's just sitting in a chair next to this guy on this couch, and she's on her phone. Then all of a sudden he pulls out a pistol and unloads like the clip into the ceiling.
Yeah. Might not come as a surprise to some people that one of my best friends ever got shot in the back that way at a party at his house. Exactly like that. Some doofus with a gun just dancing around, firing away, and shot him in the back. So yeah, it happens in this country. This was in Amityville. It was the horror. Right around the time of the horror is when it happened. So yeah, it happens. Speaking of horror, while we're waiting for Jay Franz to join us. Yesterday, I created a blog post, I blogged about something I feel, I don't know why, while driving to the gig, you just think about things. And this is the thing I'm thinking about, is so many comedians having to promote themselves, really work hard to promote every show they're on, and almost never, not never, but almost never, the club meets them with any kind of effort in promotion at all. Very rarely do I the Stand in New York City will send out, I'm on their email list, but I'm on everybody's email list. They'll send out who's going to be there and a list of several comedians. You very rarely see any advertising or promotion done by the club. When I see advertising or promotion for a comedy show, it's almost always by one of the comedians performing there, as if the clubs won't lift a finger. And it gets down to this. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I sent out 1,100 emails to a list of comedy clubs saying that I was planning on doing a new segment on this program, reading off what's happening in comedy tonight, starting Wednesday and going through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then covering the weekend on Friday. All they had to do to take part of that was to send me their list so I don't have to go to their website and download all their lists. Not one person outside of Govs and Sticks and Stones, who I already work with, were willing to even respond to that and say, here's some free promotion where I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is send them the list that I already have of the shows that are coming up this week. And they won't do that. Comedy clubs will not lift a finger to promote comedians, and I think that does a disservice to the comedians, it does a disservice to the industry, and it does a disservice to comedy fans, and it's just bad all around. So I created a short blog post around that, got no traction. I put it on all the comedy sites, whether people didn't read it or it's just really disturbing how there is a real problem and a real solution, and all these people who write, well, what's the trick to getting fannies in the seats? Well, one part of the answer is to get the clubs to do this much effort in promoting the shows, because here's what happens. If nobody comes to the show, I guarantee you that club owner is going to go to the comedians and say, what did you do to promote it? Like, they're going to be angry that you didn't promote it. Where's your people? And they're going to try to pull some fucking shady shit with the money at the end of the show, or they might cancel the show on short notice. All of that, the club put all the responsibility on the comedians. It's unfair, and comedians know it's unfair, and they're not willing to even lift a finger to help themselves in saying, you know what, we got to make an issue of this. Maybe it's because of fear that retaliation or whatever, but it's just surprising to me. And I shared it to you guys and asked you guys to read it and share it. What do you have any thoughts on this? Because am I just like fucking Don Quixote trying to knock over windmills, thinking they're dragons?
This is a constant I think at every level of comedy shows. I mean, there are free shows locally, and there are comics that struggle to promote them when there's not really a lot on the line. Some people you really gotta twist their arm to promote, and then when you have a ticketed show, I mean that the comic pushing it is important too. I think people get lazy.
You don't see that in my music community. In the music community, people are a little self-conscious about over promoting. But I follow a lot of comedians on Twitter, and almost all of them are promoting their shows. Pretty much, Erica, like I know every show. I don't ever have to go to her website. I know what shows she's doing. There are several people like that. Billy Wayne Davis. All these people who actually post all that. But if the clubs aren't even going to meet you anywhere, forget about halfway. They won't even take the first step and put it on their social media sites or any of that stuff. How can they expect that, first of all, the people to show up and expect that it should be all on the comedians? And we're talking about national headliners here, not open micers. I mean, no, of course they're going to fucking shit on open micers, but they shit on headliners, national headliners like that. Leave it all up to them. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And when they don't, I'm sure there's funny business going on with the envelope at the end of the night, And so it's really frustrating for me. I thought putting that out there would get some response from comedians who say, yeah, I feel this. This is my world. And it hits home with me. Nothing. I got no response from it at all. I don't know. I'm confused by that. Anyway, our guest is here. Are you excited about learning about record production in Music City, USA?
Now, does he work with Guinness, the world record people? Are these the records we're talking about?
Records? No, not world records. Those old. They were like made out of vinyl, and you'd put. Well, now we just they're streaming, but I still call them records. That MP3 or whatever, streaming, blah, 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 Spotify, Apple, snoopity doo,
Okay. Okay. I got it. I misunderstood. I thought he was dealing with world records. I didn't.
Oh, no.
When I was looking for Airbnbs in Rochester, there was an Airbnb that prided itself. They had like a huge vinyl collection, and you could go there and listen to their vinyl collection as part of it.
See, if I had that, no, to be fair, I like that idea. But if I had that, if I were the one running that, I'd say you're not scratching up my records. Yeah, if you want to listen to them, call me and I'll come up and I'll put it on for you. You're not touching my vinyl.
And, hey, put on these gloves before you even touch my records. That's right.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
No fingerprints. No fingerprints on my records.
I'd be more concerned about what them than taking their deposit for if they're going to damage my place or any of that stuff. You're leaving the deposit for the records. That's where you're leaving the deposit. Jay Franz is the host of the Jay Franz Show. I wonder how he thought up that name, the Jay Franz Show. It just seemed.
I'm going to bet he crowd shopped it.
I think he probably, had a whole think tank of people brainstorming. What should we name the show? He came up with the Jay Franz Show, which engages listeners with insightful and thought-provoking conversations. He has a genuine passion for his craft and creates immersive and memorable experiences for his listeners. And he's all about music production and engineering, and he's in the Music City, USA. He's here with us now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the aforementioned Jay Franz. Jay, welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah. You got a nice radio voice there, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I proposed a question this morning that I don't know the answer to. We hear about Music City all the time, and I think everybody's assumption is only country music. Are there other genres? I think, here's what I think. There's Christian music going on, Christian music production. Anything else? Are there other genres of music being produced in Nashville?
Well, yes, we're breaking Guinness Books of World Records for not only country, but for gospel, for rock music these days. There's a little bit of everything over there now.
Rock music. That's a surprise to me.
Oh, yeah. Hailstorm just recently moved to Nashville a couple years back.
I remember, I'm old enough to remember, Bob Dylan going to Nashville and making kind of some waves down there. First of all, I'm not sure he was very welcomed by the country music establishment that was there. He was a folker, and folk music and country music come from, even though people up here, people who don't know the difference, they just put them all in one, don't know this, but they come from different aspects of the political spectrum completely. I mean, country music is always very conservative. Folk music has always been very liberal and left-leaning. So there was that. But he did break down some barriers and change things as far as what was acceptable in production, right? Are you familiar with what the time I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, going from acoustic to electric and bringing electric music into folk music was a big deal at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything is like that these days. Even they're bringing into country music, they're bringing not only a lot of rock, but there's actually been metal influence in country music now.
Wow.
There's a new artist out that's got amazing voice, amazing record, and it's a woman, and it's metal. It's what she calls punk country, I think it is.
Yeah. I used to say that about KT Tunstall, not KT Tunstall. I can't remember her name now, but she was like a first country punk artist. She would running around the stage like the Sex Pistols and breaking stuff. I'm talking about back in the 80s, but in the early 2000s, when you bring up the metal stuff, I had modern country sounded like 80s hair metal with a country twang vocal on the top of it.
Yeah, I like to say country music's about 10 years behind rock music. So what you heard in rock music 10 years ago, you'll hear in country music today.
Right. Now tell me, because this has always been, how does it start? Like, do you work for, does a record company come to you and say, we have a new artist we want you to produce? Do you, as a producer, go out and find new artists? What's the initiation for producer-artist relationship?
Yeah, that's a good question. These days, producers are sought after by the label or by the artist. But typically a label, the representative's manager, or the label itself. And they go to a producer for a particular artist in that they're trying to achieve a particular sound for. So say they've got a female artist in the vein of maybe Carrie Underwood. what they'll do is look for a producer who can produce that type of project. But in Nashville, it works differently than any other area where they have their musicians are part of a union. Everything is done over a period of time blocks. So everything, the union rates are all 3-hour blocks. So you hire your musicians, you hire your studio, you go in, you record all the musicians sitting in one room at one time, which is the way things used to be done, but most people aren't doing it that way anymore. But then the producer will, after they get their what they call their basic tracks, they'll take them back to their home studio, and then they'll bring the singer in and work there at their home.
I'm kind of curious because the South is kind of known generally, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, for being like right to work states and anti-union. So how is that union still like thriving and surviving and have influence in the South?
Well, that's a good question.
Thank you. Write that down, Matt.
Yeah, write it down, please. Make sure it's part of the Guinness Book of World Records today that we're going to break all sorts of new ground today.
Wow.
Yes, you're right that Tennessee is a right-to-work state, which essentially means when they describe it, it means that somebody can be let go at any time for any reason. However, it's not quite that simple in Tennessee, that you still have to have a reason. You have to go through a procedure to let somebody go. But the union itself, I don't know when it started, but the musicians are still part of that union. Now, you can work outside of the union, but you're typically not a union musician at that time or a union studio. So, but all of the big projects, the ones you hear on the radio, are all union-based projects.
The way you described it, right to work, sounds more like right not to work.
It's right.
Well, I was trying to use
not to put you in.
Yeah, I was trying. I didn't want to create a controversy just by describing it the way I would actually describe it in my normal conversation. I was trying to use familiar terms.
Now, there is a plasticity about the country music, the Nashville music city, USA, that it feels, we have 2 places here on Long Island, New York, where I am, Daisy, and they're both Daisy's Nashville Lounge, and the idea, it just feels just like a put on, like fake. Of course, you would expect this. People who've never been south of the Mason-Dixon line, all of a sudden putting on cowboy hats and doing music. But I know a lot of people from here who went down there because they thought country music goes through hot and cold phases. And when it's trending, everybody thinks, I'm just going to go to Nashville. It's an easy thing. I'll become a star in Nashville. And there's no authenticity about them. That's not who they are. It's a put on. They're just doing it for chasing the dollars. Is that something that is constant, or is it just when country music is at its the ebbs of its popularity?
I think it's funny that we used to say you go down to the bus station, now it's the airport, but you go down to the bus station and there's not a single day that goes by that somebody will not get off that bus with a guitar in their hand. So there's always somebody coming to Nashville that thinks they're going to make it and become the next big star. In Broadway, the big strip downtown that has a bar every 2 feet is a country bar with bands playing in it. They start at 10 o'clock in the morning and they go to like 2 in the morning. And there's live music all day long at every one of those bars. And some of the bars have multiple floors with a different band on each floor. So there is no shortage of people coming to Nashville thinking they're going to make it. And that's the first place they stop is Broadway. And they think they're going to play on Broadway and become discovered. Now, there's a lot of, talented people who work in the industry who play on Broadway, but they're not there to be discovered. They're there to make a living. Those are usually people who tour and go out on the road, and then when they're home, they play on Broadway to make money. Where the people who get off the bus think they're going to play on Broadway for free and become discovered.
Right.
So it's a different mindset between those 2 groups of people. But yeah, most people go on the road, they tour with the musician, and then when they come back, they play on Broadway to make some spare change.
Do you feel like that lack of authenticity or whatever that is that I was describing from people who really had no connection to country music, going there and trying to, because they think it's an easy score, which it's not. Do you think that goes both ways? Do you think country music in itself as an industry tries to be something it's not. I mean, I love old time country music. I'm a big Merle Haggard, from that school of music, Waylon and all those people. I think trendy. We mentioned the '80s hair metal influence. Now it's more like hip hop stuff. Do you think it works both ways? The industry adopts to whatever is happening too much.
Well, I think there's always people who are going to try to take advantage of the current trends. But if you look at the core group of people in Nashville, the musicians who have worked there for years upon years, it's usually the group of musicians themselves that they are as authentic as could possibly be. Who you see on stage is the same person that you would see when you meet them in person or when you see them play on Broadway. They don't change. They're just the nicest people. The people who come into town might take things a little different approach. They come in with their cowboy hats. Most people aren't wearing cowboy hats in Nashville.
Yeah.
It's not that type of thing. You don't typically have cowboy hats and cowboy boots these days. Sometimes you do, though. I mean, but the people who live there and work there on a regular basis, they're very down to earth, very easygoing people. Now, as far as the trends in music, I think that happens in every genre. I think as soon as one person becomes successful at something or does something different that catches on, everybody else tries to catch on to that wave. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I always think there's plenty of room for experimentation. Just don't copy people.
That's a fair point. But, I think country music has a purist, like people who it has a image that it conjures up for people who are older and understand the roots of country music and where it came from, who reject a lot of that stuff. I know I'm an old curmudgeon, but it doesn't feel like country music anymore to me. Very rarely do I hear something that feels like these people know the history of the music they're making and align with what I thought country music was for most of my life. So
yeah, I mean, you do have that for sure, but I mean, you have the roots of everything, the roots of the people that are in country in Nashville, the people who are in gospel, but then just over the border in Kentucky, you have bluegrass. And that group of people is as pure as could possibly be. There's bluegrass festivals. They play the same music, the same standards. They just work on their craft as a family in most cases. So there's a lot of things that are still pure to the way things were. And what you're kind of describing too is back when, country was initially popular. It was like you were saying, Merle Haggard and stuff. And it was storytelling, not just during the song, but in between songs. It was more of a show. And as time has gone on, that's kind of transitioned into a more what they call modern country or pop country these days. But now you used to have those two, the traditional country, old school country, and new country. Now new country has split off into what you were describing with hip hop. So you got a hip hop genre of new country. You've got a rock genre of new country. You've got some bands using samples in their songs, which takes it away, in my opinion, from traditional country.
All right.
Now, I grew up with new country being Jean-Luc Ponty. So I'm kind of low this other new country. Maybe it's just a generational thing. I don't know.
I never heard any of Jean-Luc Ponty's records. I've heard him play on like lots of other people's records. I never heard a single one of his records. So I'm assuming that was a joke, because I don't think he's more like a classical player, right? Or am I wrong?
Jean-Luc, if I'm wrong, somebody out there correct me. Unless I'm mistaken, Jean-Luc Ponty had a record in the late 70s, early 80s called New Country, an album called New Country. I could be wrong. I doubt it. I'm usually not when I open my mouth. But
the title might have been that he moved to a new country, right?
No, he was a fairly decent musician.
Yeah. So let me ask you about the role of producer, because there is a lot of confusion, especially with new artists, about what the role of the producer is supposed to be and how it's evolved over the years. Sometimes it comes down to even getting songwriting credits on because you're suggesting changes and things like that. How do you see the role of a record producer?
The Almighty God. No,
wow.
There you go. No, I think when you're talking about a producer, there's different types of producers to me. There's the type of producer that comes into the room and orchestrates everything. So they know the musicians that would be best for this song. They know the studio that we should go to record the song. They know how we should approach things, what microphones we should use, and they just kind of put the puzzle pieces together. They don't actually jump in and perform anything, but they just move the puzzle pieces around. So I'll hire you to play guitar. I'll hire this person over here to play drums. We'll go into this studio. We'll use these microphones. We'll get this engineer, and we'll come up with this particular sound by doing that. And I think that's a very important piece for a producer, the administrative side and the person who just, like I said, orchestrates. Then you have the ones that jump in. So they play an instrument, and they're a musician first. So maybe a guitar player or a piano player first, and they've written songs of their own, and they've become successful to a certain point as a musician or a songwriter. And then they get together with an up-and-coming artist, say a singer's coming into town, the record label identifies this person as somebody they would like to put a record together for. And then that particular producer will sit down with the label and say, all right, what style are we going for? What feel are we going for? And they get all the information they can from that team, and then they'll go in and create that. So they'll actually play some tracks. They'll hire some musicians that they know. They'll put things together the way they feel best. And then at the very last possible minute, they usually bring in the singer to go ahead and sing that track. And then that singer would release the album. So
interesting. Now, I'll part my part of and listen, I've never produced anything that would break down any walls or make Billboard charts even. But with recording the vocals last, I think it creates a real staticky feel for it. The singer is kind of locked into what's already there, rather than letting the vocal and the vocal performance lead where the actual final product is going. Does that make any sense to you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the vocalist should be involved at every step of the way. So when you're in there recording your basic tracks, they should be in an isolation booth singing along with the musicians that day. And a lot of times those are the tracks that you keep because they come with emotion, they come with feeling, and they're excited for being there in that room with all these musicians, and they feed off of each other. So I like that. And then if you need to correct a line or fix something here or there, you can go in after the fact and do that. But I think it's very important for that singer to be part of that group from the beginning.
Have you ever worked with somebody who was really talented, really good, but hasn't been in the recording studio process before, and when they get in there, their singing feels restricted, or like they're afraid to? I always say get naked with the music, bare their soul, really allow themselves to be vulnerable in a lot of sense. And for me, that is the most difficult part of trying to work with a singer who hasn't done it before, is trying to explain that don't worry about judgment, kill me if you have to. I'm gonna assume I'm dead. I'm in a
judgment-free zone.
Yeah. How do you get around that when you're working with somebody who's just not letting it go, not getting comfortable and showing what they can really do, but trying to be too perfect and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, this typically happens with the new artists over the seasoned ones, right? So when you get a new artist that comes in, they're used to performing on stage. They're used to their home community where they've developed a following of people that they typically know. So they feel very comfortable. So when they go on stage, they interact with the audience. They're like I said, comfortable. They know the people in the audience. They feel good. But then when you take them out of their comfort zone and you put them in the studio, which is a controlled environment, you're putting headphones on them, you're doing all sorts of things that they wouldn't normally do. And then you're putting them in front of strangers where, like you said, that they could be embarrassed. We're in front of people that are seasoned professionals, and now they come in to sing. And I've done that a couple times. I've worked with one female singer that I can think of off the top of my head. She was an independent artist. She came in, and she was working in the studio as we were recording another band. And then when we left to go to lunch, she stayed behind at the studio. And when we got back, she was playing a guitar and singing. and it was a song that she had written. So she's sitting there playing it and singing it. So the musicians thought this was great. So they picked up a pad of paper, they charted out the song, which is just the chord changes and everything that happened within that song. We went, set up a microphone, we got the whole studio ready, and then at the very last minute, we told her, hey, come on in here and sing this song. And she had no idea what we were talking about, but it was the song that she was just writing. And when she sang it, she could not have been tighter and more nervous in her life. I mean, she was just, curled up, and it was a very tight performance. And then once she got comfortable and we took her back in the studio later and had her redo the song, it was as comfortable as possible because we took that pressure off of her, took her out of that environment. So I think that it's just knowing the environment and knowing, how to work with people, what they're thinking at that time.
Yeah.
I've worked with musicians in the studio who are, much better musicians than I am live. And then they get into the studio and they just clam up. It's like that. I'm sorry, that's not how you played it yesterday live. Right. It's like, what is this? Did somebody still have the notes off of your guitar? I don't understand. It's like,
well, I could tell you, I've played on probably 5,000 demos and about maybe 200 actual songs that got released. And still to this day, if I hit the record button, the first thing I'm going to do is make a mistake. Always. I mean, you could play it effortlessly and seamlessly, and then you hit the record button, and it's like it's something about knowing that it's being recorded forever that makes it. It just plays with your psyche and inhibits you in a little bit. You're afraid of making a mistake.
I think that's why I'm the one that presses the record button.
Yeah, and don't let me see it. Don't let me know it.
That's something we do all the time. We just set up the gear and it's recording the entire time.
Wow. Well, you just let that secret out of the bag.
No one's listening to this anyway.
Tell me about the Jay Friends show now. That's an unusual name. How did you think of that?
It was a tough one to come up with, I'll tell you. The show is based on...
I'm sorry. What were the other candidates? I just want to know what names it beat out.
It wasn't G.D. Fenderson. That got rejected pretty quickly.
It was tough. It was, it was every variation of that name possible, but we settled on that one. And the reason behind it is this show is a backstage experience. So we go backstage, we talk to artists and people who work on tours or people who work on records, and similar to this, and we talk to people about the stories you would typically hear backstage. So we don't want to just hear the how do you do this or how do you do that stories. We want to hear, what happened when you were backstage or in that hotel room and you were found running naked down the hallway. And you get people to share things. Like we had McBride and the Ride on the show a couple weeks ago. And they told a story about just that. They were in this hotel room and one of the members of the band was in the shower singing. The other members of the band took a big tub of ice and poured it on him. He went running out of the shower and ended up going out the door and ran down the hallway naked. They locked the door, wouldn't let him back in. And they told the story about that. Or we've had people tell stories about the food they've eaten in catering or the tour bus. We talk about their careers and everything, but it's basically what we call your backstage pass to the music industry.
I love it.
Now, when you get that story, like for example, just say that story, did you get the other point of view, like from the people in the hallway who were traumatized by it, or the hotel that had to clean up the ice? I mean, do you do any good like backstory, or do you just take their word for it that that's how it happened?
Oh no, we get backstory because it turns out that when he ran down the hallway naked, he had no place to go, so he crammed himself between the ice machine and the wall in the little hallway there. And as you can imagine, it's probably not the best place to be, especially in a cold environment for a naked man.
Yeah, you don't want to be near the ice machine. Talk about shrinkage, shrinkage square.
He's experiencing a little bit of shrinkage, which was not the only story of shrinkage that happened during that show. And if you want to hear the other one, I'll tell you because it's pretty funny as well.
I have had experiences like that and been locked out naked. I shouldn't even go there, but my reaction has always been violent. I like, what, there's a line you cross with me and don't leave me out
naked in the hallway.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he was discovered and found by a family. So a husband and wife and their kids. So they actually found him. They gave him a towel, so he was able to go down the front desk, get back into his room. But it was a was a funny story. So
yeah, if I do it to somebody else, it's funny. If it happens to me,
then it's uncalled for.
Right, it's just so childish.
It's one of those stories like, grow up, you childish people,
right,
grow up.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Was William Lee Golden the most recent episode that you had?
Yeah, that episode released today. As a matter of fact, we recorded it 1 week ago today. So
Wow.
William Lee Golden with Danny Stefanetti, they were both on the show once before, but they came back because they wrote a song together and did a duet. They wanted to come on, and it's getting ready to be released with the music video. William Lee Golden, obviously from the Oak Ridge Boys, 60-year career. He was just an amazing guy to talk to. He's
well. Here's my first reaction to that is I've known about him as long as I can remember. I was a young person but he seemed like I'm an old guy. I'm a very old man, and I knew he seemed like an old guy when I was a kid.
I know, right? He's 85 years old. 85 years old and still performs almost every day of the week.
Well, then, because only 85, I'm thinking only 85, means that he looked older than he was 50 years ago when I
think it's the beard. He's got that beard that goes all the way down to his waist.
And it was always white, right?
Yeah,
I don't ever
gray
remember
beard.
it being black or
far,
dark.
Far back in like 70s, it was darker.
Yeah. I had somebody on who said they worked with the Oak Ridge Boys recently, and I asked, are they even still recording or doing anything? The rest of the group, they're not all alive, right? Some of them have passed on.
One just passed on, I think it was last month, but all of the original members were still alive up until that point.
Wow.
And they're releasing a new record, so they're still recording new material. It gets released in October.
If I could just interject, Leonard Skinner, this is how it's done. Okay, you keep the band together over time. You don't just kill them all.
Just don't fly.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's that. So the Oak Ridge Boys don't fly; they just take buses.
They do take buses a lot. I'm sure they fly, but they take every time I've seen them, they've taken a bus.
Now, in 1992, everybody told me, go to Austin. This is where it's happening in music. And then I went there, and it's like there's a lot of competition here. It's like there's no way I'm going to compete with all these people. Now Austin seems to be the mecca for comedy, but I'm just wondering, has I think it was Willie Nelson that kind of started that whole come to Austin thing. Has the addition of Austin being a competitive market for music in general, but country music especially, has that been felt at all in the Nashville music industry?
Well, Austin is known for being a live music scene, where Nashville is known for being the recorded music scene. Now, they both have studios and they both have live music scenes. So which one is better? I think it really looks at Nashville as an industry built around music. So they have the studios, they have the record labels, the publishing companies, the writing houses. I mean, everything is specifically on the industry of making a record, where Austin is typically the more hippie style artists that go there and put their records and play live. And they're recording in a more traditional way, where the band goes in the room, they play together, and then they release that record as is with very little change to it. Where in Nashville, there's extreme amounts of change to the records when they make them.
Well, I mentioned the plasticity before. It feels like to me Nashville has become the Disneyland of country music, where tourists who love country music go there and they want to get the tour of the studio and all that, and the phony country music experience rather than seeing what is under the hood. Is it like that, or is that just my imagination that it's just become corporatized?
I personally feel it's like that. So yes, I agree with your statement. There's tour buses that go through and they take them on the tour. You go see where Elvis recorded his 50 #1 singles and those type of things. But then you also have the serious people who are making really, really good records. So I think you have a little bit of everything there. But there are the traditional people that have stayed there. You've got big producers, some of the most famous producers in the world that are still making extremely great records. And then you've got some independent producers, I say independent, they're making big records now, that are doing rock records. Jay Joyce is a producer that works out of Nashville. he's known for jumping in hands-on. Like, he plays instruments, he comes up with crazy things like toy pianos. I mean, whatever instrument is in the room, he's going to experiment with it and see if we can use it on the record. So I mean, he's a great producer. He produced one of the last Hailstorm records. So
wow.
I mean, a great job on him.
I like that. I like being open to ideas of thinking. It's cliche, thinking out of the box, but especially when it comes to what could be used on a production of and considered a real instrument, toy pianos and stuff like that. That I really appreciate that sensibility. As far as the business goes, and this is something that I'm a broken record on, a broken Guinness World record on. It's making it used to be, and you don't have to be that old to remember, where artists were compensated for doing great work, whether they produced, whatever in any genre, compensated to a great extent for the recorded music, and the live stuff was to help promote the recorded music. Now it seems that has flipped on its ass, and that we only record music to get people to come out to live shows because that's how artists make their money. Is that? Do you feel like what I just said is accurate, or would you disagree with it?
I think you're definitely on to something. I think that artists should be making more for their live performances as well. I don't think they're making nearly enough for even the live performances. But yes, I think the live performance is where it's at, that and the merchandise. But you have to realize when you're dealing with these record labels who are taking 360 deals, and when you're dealing with these industry people, that every single person has their hand into the project in some way. It's very tough. I say, like, if you got a manager who's taking 15%, if you got a record label who's taking 80%, and you got all these people taking money, what's left for the artist? Very, very little to none. So they always had touring, and then they had merchandise. Well, now touring, everybody's taking a piece of that as well. So record labels are taking a piece of their touring because they can't sell records anymore. They can't sell a physical item anymore. So they have to find some other way to make money. Now, granted, you wouldn't be touring if it wasn't for that record label, so I don't completely discard the notion of them taking a piece. It's just how much of a piece that I have trouble with. And then you've got venues, too. If you go to a big arena and the artist is performing at this arena and they choose to sell merchandise, the arena is taking a percentage of your merchandise as well now. So if you set up a booth to sell T-shirts and hats and stuff, you're on the arena's property, so therefore they feel like they need a piece of that puzzle as well.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused because you refer to the 360 deal, which makes sense when you're dealing with records and albums because they're around and they're 360. But now most things are virtual, and there is like no end to there is no shape. So
well, if you look at the Spotify logo is round.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it all comes around.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Now, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to write that down so I won't ask that question again.
Yeah, no, please. Yeah, Ron, buddy, you can chime in at any point. You're really starting to make me nervous. I need some support here.
Ron has not spoken a word since birth. This is a part of a Guinness World Records thing that we have.
Breaking a record right now.
They're watching to see if he utters a sound, and then
I'll make note of that.
He's going for the record of the co-host who speaks the least.
I'll submit that in.
Yeah. Now the bigger picture of what you just described, and listen, I understand that everybody wants a piece, and I think there's some fairness on both sides of this, but I do think as a culture, I think we are devaluing art and what it really means to the quality of life that we all enjoy. Because people used to think, well, they resented somehow celebrities being rich and to the extent that they were. A lot of it, they flaunt their excess and mansions and all that stuff. But I feel like if we don't make it really lucrative for artists, that we take the incentive away from producing good art or great art and stuff that will enhance people's lives. And I think if we don't, the lack of compensation, the fact that you can be a major famous star and still not be able to pay all your bills is not good for society, culture at large. Do you agree with that on any level?
You know, I do see that happening quite a bit, that you've got these famous artists and everybody thinks because they're on the road and they're playing arenas that they must be rich. And they're not. In most cases, they are not rich. In a lot of cases, they struggle because they're paying back all of the money that they've borrowed from these record labels and these people along the way. So it takes a lot for somebody. You have to be mega successful to make the money these days, the Taylor Swifts of the world. So, and I don't knock her success either. She's done very well. She works very hard. I get it. Her team is very good. So they deserve money as well. But my thing is, when an artist is starting, you have a manager. And a manager at the beginning isn't making any money because, well, the artist isn't making any money, which then in turn the record labels doesn't want to sign them because they're not making any money. The record labels want to find the sure things. That's why they turn to TikTok and places like that, and they find an artist that has a following, not necessarily a talent, but a following. Ideally, you want to find one that has both, but they are willing to take the following over the talent. And then they go ahead and produce a project around that talent, and they try to cash in on that immediate wave that we were discussing earlier. So I think if they find people who are successful at their craft, like you're saying, that the talent piece of it, a lot of these people that make records, even the ones that are not making money, would make the record whether they were being paid or not, because that's their art, that's their craft, that's what they want to be doing with their life, that's their passion. But then you add the record label, they got to get a piece of that money. And I take the stance, I'm usually the unpopular stance in Nashville, that I do believe other people need to be paid. So I understand when the record label says that they need to pay their bills too. I understand when the producer says, well, I need to get paid for my time. At the beginning, everybody's donating their time because the artist isn't making money. And then once that artist starts making money, that's when everybody should be paid back for everything that they did for free along the way. Because if it wasn't for them, that artist wouldn't be making that money in the first place. That's a very unpopular stance. However, to be fair, that producer produced a record that got you a record deal. That record deal sunk money into you as an artist and your record. And then they put you out on the road with a tour bus and whatever else that they supplied you. They deserve to be paid back for that. If it wasn't for all these people doing this, you wouldn't be making the money anyway.
Right.
I have a question also, because and again, I'm like the least hip person when it comes to modern
anything. You can just stop there, least hip person.
Yes, but it seems like a lot of the artists, once it seems like there's trying to create a world in which they appear to be richer than they are and not help either. So they're buying bling or renting bling or houses or fancy cars or whatever it is that the kids are calling it these days. But the bank account has not gotten to that. No, the bank account has not gotten to Porsche. The bank account is at Hyundai, but they want Porsche. And so they're going further into debt. And so they need to make a bigger deal with a bigger devil to try to cover that. I mean, you think that plays a part in it at all, or am I just whistling Dixie or something?
Well, I specialize in branding. So putting an image together for an artist, that's part of what I do. And yes, I agree 100% that people are doing that. They have these things, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, you might be, that they have these things called influencer houses, where somebody will buy this mansion of a house, like massive, massive house in the Hollywood Hills or in some other popular area. And then they'll have people come in and take all their photos and, next to the house, next to the cars, next to the waterfall going into the pool that overlooks the Hollywood sign. You get all these things that happen. And then those people go market themselves as if that's their house. So they get enough content that they can dish it out over a year's worth of time. And they act like that's their lifestyle, when in reality, they're back in Kansas, working at Walmart while they're pushing out this lifestyle. So yes, I think it's kind of crazy that people do that.
We're running short on time here, but there's really a couple of things that I think I really want to get out of you as far as in the publishing world, I work with a lot of authors who recognize the changes in the industry have left it. Doesn't matter if you sign with the biggest publishing house that exists, I can name them, or you're a self-published person. The marketing is left completely up to the artist and the artist's home, small circle of people. Is that the same in with record labels? Are they once the product is out there, do they expect the artist to do all the work, and is it incumbent on the artists to make themselves a success, and there's no support from what used to be a very supportive label?
Oh, absolutely. No, I've witnessed both sides of it because I've written a book and I've worked in the music business. So I've done both of those things for a long period of time. And yes, they want you to be successful. They want you to do your own promotion. They want you to have your own TikTok account. They want you to be the one doing all these things to bring in the money. But it's the same thing in the world of books. When I first released my first book, I was teaching at an engineering college in Nashville. And that book was about Pro Tools, the software we use to record the bands that are coming into the studio in Nashville. And nobody would publish the book. Nobody. I had the hardest time finding somebody to publish it. So I self-published it. And it started selling extremely well. And it got picked up in colleges, not the one I was teaching at, mind you, whole different story. But it got picked up in a whole bunch of other colleges as a textbook. And it became very popular. And then during that time, publishing companies started reaching out to me saying, we'll go ahead and publish that book. We have no problem doing that for you. And I'm like, no, at this point, it doesn't matter. Because at this point, I've done it. I've done all the work. I'm selling the books, and I'm making all the commission on my own.
Right.
So that's the same thing in music. So to me, the record label is nothing but a bank. And it's if you need the bank, absolutely. Take a loan from the bank, put a project together, sell it, but then that bank gets their commission for you doing that. If you don't need the bank, don't take the loan.
Right.
Just go ahead, be popular. You built a multi-million follower on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that. Now book your own shows. Go play places. Get that crowd coming in on your own, and you're making money. Very, very good friends of mine play in a band out of New York that are extremely popular, and they do everything 100% on their own. They don't have a record label. They don't bother with any of that stuff because they've found the way to do it, and they're making a very, very good living on it, probably better than they do if they had a label.
Right.
Now, Jay, I just wanted to share a story real quick. I'm about 2018, I guess, 2017, 2018. I just recorded my first comedy special. It didn't make me big. It didn't make me do anything. It just locally, the other comedians said, okay, he just recorded a 90-minute special. And I disappeared for like a month or two from the DC scene. In the meantime, my nephew had given me these clothes that he had outgrown. And I had no idea. I'm not familiar with name brands or anything like that. I'm looking at them going like, oh, these jeans are in good shape. I'll wear these next time I perform. That's what I'm thinking. And so I wear them to a show in DC. And so the comedians there, lower level comedians like myself, go like, okay, I saw you record your special. And I said, yeah. And they go, man, you must be doing really well for yourself. Look at these jeans. These jeans are like $600 a pair. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And I honestly did not know that the jeans that I was wearing were like $600 a pair. Had no idea. My nephew had just outgrown them and gave me 6 pair of them. I'm like, I know. And so I called my nephew, and they said to me, they said, aren't you, the comedians are saying, you worried about getting shot in DC because they'll steal your pants. They will shoot you and take your pants. I'm like, why? I don't understand. So I called my nephew. I said, I'm not gonna say his name.
What have you done to me?
Yes, I hate when he hates it when I use his name in public. So I'll call him another name. I'll say, Jay, what did you do to me, man?
Thanks for that, buddy.
Yeah, I said, Jay, you gave me jeans, man. I said, they're like $600 a pair. He goes, do you think I paid $600 for those jeans? He goes, yeah, those are $600 jeans, but I got them on the hookup. Like $200 a pair.
He got him off somebody in DC.
And the thing is, even the fact that he says I got him discounted for $200 a pair, I'm like, really? For $200, I buy like 20 pair of jeans.
My jeans are $20.
Yes.
Wow.
You hit something right on the head there, though. You're talking about you recorded your album, your 90-minute special, And all of a sudden, people thought of you differently because of that.
Right.
You had a special, and now you're a step above that local scene of startups that you were describing. Now you're getting probably booked at more places because you have an album out or a product.
It didn't work out like that.
Well,
They
it's
thought
supposed to.
I jumped the gun.
Well, it's got to be good
Honestly.
product. That's the problem. It was really
Oh,
awful.
actually,
I've
it
seen
was
special.
good product. It was good product, but I didn't do it for that reason. I did it because I was old. I started doing coming out 55. And I know that by the time I'm been doing it long enough to be famous.
You are old.
By the time I'm famous, which,
It's
could take 15,
years
20 years, right, I'll be too old. But I'm a prolific writer. I can't sit around and wait.
Too old.
I can't wait for someone
Way
to catch
too
up
old.
with me and go, oh, we'll record that special. So I just produced my own.
All right.
I produced 3 of my own specials, actually 5 of my own specials, and I'm only doing it so that I have a record that I tried. Not that I'm big, not that I'm famous, not that I'm great, because they're better, but I want something that I was out there, that I existed.
Just a word to the audience. Once again, we have devolved into the G.D. Fenderson promotional podcast is what this is now called. Thank you very much.
Nice.
I do have one more thing I want to address with Jay. It's I think it started in Nashville. It's back in the day, back in when I was young, 100 years ago. Maybe one songwriter, maybe 2 songwriters. Now, if you look on the credits for songwriting on any of the stuff that gets mass attention, there are 9 to 15 songwriters. Right. Is that, first of all, am I correct that it started in Nashville? But also, is it is that a positive thing? I told you to knock. You just threw off the whole flow of the show. I'm asking Jay about
songwriters,
the influence or the advent of 100 songwriters per song. A good thing, bad thing? Does it improve the quality of the music?
It can. When you're dealing with a group of people, a lot of times you're bringing in somebody in that team of songwriters because they have an expertise in something. So you might bring in somebody who's got a lyrical expertise or can turn a phrase a little bit better than somebody else. A lot of times you're just getting your name on the record because you're the producer and you change one word in the song and say, well, now I deserve a song credit. So you really have to take a good look at the names that are on that list of songwriters, because you could potentially just be seeing people who are putting their name on it just to get a piece of the pie. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of really quality team songwriters in Nashville where you get people who you might get 1 or 2 people who routinely write with other artists. So you'll see the same 2 names with this artist, and then you'll see those same 2 names over here with this other artist. That's the ones that I would think are the legitimate ones. The ones where you get unfortunately, and this happens in every business, it's not singled out to Nashville, but you get people who want to capitalize on an industry. So you get people who not just move to Nashville because they want to be stars, but because they want to be songwriters, because they want to work in the studio somehow. So what they'll do is they'll sit down with that artist and they'll tell that artist that's coming in, we'll write your song for you. And then they hire maybe 2 or 3 other people who could really do it, but then their name is on the record.
Right.
So you end up with that type of people.
Is there any space left for the songwriter who is not an artist and not with the team? I mean, I go back to the days of like Willie Nelson, Diane Warren, people who would just write songs and sell them to artists. It was a one-person songwriting effort. Jimmy Webb. I mean, people who just sold songs. They were songwriters, not artists, and could make a very nice living for themselves and create some really great pieces of work. Is there any space for those people left?
Yeah, you still have the team of people who are career writers that do this for a publishing company. They write songs on a regular basis. They sell songs on a regular basis. Those people are making money. They're probably not making as much as they used to, but they're still making money. They're making a living. They're able to pay their mortgage and those type of things. But then you get other people, there's thousands of songwriters in Nashville that'll never make a dime. Right. I mean, I've been lucky enough to work on songs and even write songs that have been successful. And I've written a song that went to #1 for an artist, And that song made money for maybe a 6-month period of time, but it wasn't the type of money that it would have in the past. In the past, you could retire on one hit song.
Right.
This, you couldn't even pay your mortgage for 6 months on one hit song. So
wow,
it is different.
Now, I have one other question for you. Back years ago, when I first started writing songs and sending them out to people, I used to get these letters back from like a record company, and they would say, we really like your song, we really like your music, and for $450, we will
include it on
You're
this
already
album
laughing,
with
so you
10
know
other
the
people.
rest of it. Are those things still out there? Do they
I get
still-
them every day, every single day.
Those are the people that I'm talking about. Those are the
Okay.
ones that come to Nashville and prey on other people.
Yeah.
So if you look at the career people in Nashville, it's not like that. If you look at the people who are trying to come in for a quick money grab, those are the ones. That's how they're doing it.
Yeah. You know what? I still get those every single day, and now more than ever, we'll get you played on. We'll amplify your music on Spotify and all the streaming services. It's like, you know what? Why would I want to pay people to listen to my music if they're not going to do it? I don't know. I'm very much if it's not organically growing on its own. I could see if it is already organically growing on its own to give it a boost like that, but I just can't see anybody believing that all I have to do is invest money for these people who are just going to get me played by. The industry has changed so much that I don't even know what you. I think you spelled it out that the label is a bank.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case in the past. The label was somebody who was investing in you. You were partners with them
They had a craft of their own.
Right. Yeah. Let's we'll get ready to say goodbye here, but I want Jay Friend's show. How often do you do that? I think you mentioned the William Lee Golden thing is today, so I'm assuming you publish on Mondays. How often?
Yeah, we publish every Monday. You asked about the name earlier. The whole concept of the show is backstage stories, so it's your backstage pass to the music industry, and because of copyrights and everything else that we go through and flagging and all the stuff we go through in today's modern world, that's the reason for using my own name as the show. So
Okay.
it started as a backstage pass deal, and it turned quickly into my name just to save hassle of that.
jfriends.com. The link is in the description for people who want to check it out too. Now, I got to say, because is it the demographic? Is it for people who are interested in the music industry? The reason I'm asking is because when I put this into my AI stuff that will suggest popular keywords and tags for the video, entrepreneurship, leadership skills, or like a lot of the business core skill teaching sets were coming up associated with your name. Is it for business people, or is it for artists, or somewhere in between?
The show is for the diehard music fan. We want introduce them to artists they wouldn't normally get to talk to. We do it very similar to the style of show here, where we bring the artist on, we let people come on, comment, talk to them, ask questions. It's just a conduit for people to get to artists that they wouldn't normally get to talk to. Now, my background is in leadership when it comes to running companies, music-related companies mostly. And so a lot of those topics do come up, and that's why you're seeing that. So, however, the concept of the show is to provide stories from behind the scenes for the diehard music fans.
You want to hear about people getting locked out of their whole hotel room.
They hear the funny stuff that they wouldn't normally get to hear.
All right,
stuff that the artists wouldn't typically share. And it takes a while to break that out.
I have one last question for you, Jay. And
probably bad.
No, I'm just curious because the last thing it says in the bio here is that you're a dry humorist. I was just wondering why you quit drinking. Was there something that happened?
I had to. My wife made me do it. She makes me do a lot of things in life, but
I thought it was a law that if you were involved in country music at all, you had to drink bourbon on a daily basis.
You know what? Being in the Nashville, Kentucky, those two areas are very similar. Nashville's got whiskey, Kentucky's got bourbon. Until I moved here, I've never seen so much bourbon and stuff in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it as a gift nonstop. I don't know if you can see back here, but there's a whole bunch of glass bottles and things. I mean, it's nothing but bourbon. I get bourbon all the time.
Yeah. In my 20s, I played in a band called the Magic Mountain Band out of Clifton Forge, Virginia. And I brought a buddy who was a blues harp player to sub for the blues harp player that they had in the band. And we got to the leader of the band's house at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we woke him up. And the first thing he did was grab for a fifth of Jim Beam. And I was like, this is his orange juice.
That's a man is what that is. That's a man.
Man, I am not.
Yeah, and I learned some bad habits from him. And, you know, there wasn't a single gig we played where we weren't in the parking lot drinking whiskey before we were going on. It's like,
yeah, it's great. Here it's just water. It's just brown water. That's all it is.
Anyway, you've been a great. I hope you've. I know you've provided some great information and some stuff that artists can use. And I appreciate you being on here. I hope some people will take what you said and apply it to their careers. And thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. Good talk.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
jfriends.com, folks, and you every Monday morning you'll have a new show. Thank you for being here, Jay. Have a great day, and thanks
guys.
Bye for now. Jay Friends. Good morning, Stephen. What are you putting in front of me? Oh,
that's John Luke Ponty's New Country. Just so
yeah. Well, that means he moved to a new country. As I was saying, he's like from France or because Jay France just left. France or Canada, right? With a name like John
French.
Luke.
He's French. He's French. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be from Montreal.
French classic. They called him a French classic jazz musician. But that album was New Country. Was a pop attempt, and he did have like a country swing to it, but it was
still... I remember modern sounds in country music from Ray Charles. Most people in country music did not like these. Who's this slave coming in here? You know, he's R&B guy. Why is he doing modern sounds in country music? Was not well received by people like Stephen Ortiz, Stephen the Kitty Diddler Ortiz. He's changed his name now.
Whoa,
what? Not the Kitty. Oh, the Walkman. I'm sorry.
No.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought Kitty Diddler.
No,
I was performing in West Virginia. I may have told this story.
Oh, speaking of diddlers, West Virginia. Go on.
Yeah, if I've told the story before, just admit me. But when I was in West Virginia, and my finale was a song parody by Stevie Wonder. And when I was done, everybody applauded, and everybody thought it was really great. This guy walks up to me and he goes, "I don't know who this Stevie Wonder guy is, but that song was pretty funny."
Thank you for that, because I have to do a reel on Stevie Wonder. That's one big artist I have not done one.
And initially, I thought he was like fucking with me, like he didn't know who Stevie Wonder was. But yeah, but it turns out he really did not know who Stevie Wonder was.
I'm certain there are people. Well, not just West Virginia. There are people all over who don't know any. I mean, modern. Listen, it's a thing. People are not hip. There are plenty of people you don't know about who are household names in.
I'm sure there's a ton of that I don't know.
Really? You think there's people that are like household names I don't know? Really?
You didn't even know who Chris D'Elia was. Go sit in the corner.
Okay, first of all, Chris D'Elia, he's not on par with
Chris D'Elia actually happens to be Steven's role model in life.
No.
That's why he became a substitute teacher.
I saw Chris D'Elia on at midnight years ago with Chris Hardwick. But he was so forgettable that I forgot that I'd seen him.
Well, Chris D'Elia's name is his nickname is Softwick.
So one, ew, Chris D'Elia, gross. But two, so today's fun. I get to teach PE this afternoon.
Hey, everybody! We're all gonna get laid.
And, what we're playing is we're playing War Vet Dodgeball. And the way it works is everybody starts out on their feet, and if you get hit, you have to get on the little rolly carts, and you have to stay on the sidelines and ask for the ball to be thrown to you.
Now, are the kids brutal? I mean, because if I'm just thinking back to my school days, and if we had a substitute gym teacher who showed up in a wheelchair, we would be brutal to him.
I'm one of the favorite subs they have. I go in and lay it down really, really clear out the gate. I let them know, guys, listen, I don't work in a church. I don't work in a school. I was like, my full-time job is to make jokes and make fun of people. Anything you do to me, I'll do back twice as hard. Then I'm going to call your parents and tell them what I told you to make you cry. Okay? So we're either going to have a good day or not. And
So
they
if
usually
you're
respond
listening
well
to
to
this,
that. So
if you work for the school and you're listening right now, the pink slip should be being looked at at this moment.
I'm a sub. I'm replaceable. That's fine. That doesn't bother me none. I've missed the morning show anyway. I'm excited for tomorrow.
All right. Jay was full of good information there, and you know what? I learned a few things. Have you guys hip to the Jane's Addiction show in Boston and what happened the other night?
I saw that. Yeah, that was interesting. From the looks of it, it sounds like the lead singer was kind of off the whole night.
Here's what happened, and I know the drummer Stephen Perkins of Jane's Addiction. I've had him on the program twice. He's a good guy. Here's what happened. They have this song that used to include a talking point where Perry Farrell just goes off, rambling, stream of consciousness thoughts. And the band is getting older now, and they've played that song a billion times. And it's like, that he can tend to run away, kind of like some of GD's questions that end up being a 15-minute question. He can just run away with the show. Let's cut that piece a little short. And Perry felt like he was being shortchanged there and blamed it on Navarro and went over and punched him in the face on stage. Now,
he punched him in the shoulder.
All right. Well, okay. He meant to punch him in the face. He might have missed. But a couple of things there. It just shows that, first of all, Perry Farrell is older than me. I think he's 72 or something.
Holy
72.
smokes.
You don't want to be starting a fight when you're that old. He's I don't know if he's 72, but he's older than me. You don't want to be starting
a fight. He's launching a new brand of Rockstar Life Alert buttons.
Yeah.
Help, I've swung, I've missed, and I can't get up.
And maybe it went viral. Maybe bad publicity is good publicity. I don't know. But you could have easily just waited till you got off stage and addressed it in that way, and then done something about it in the next show. Not to kind of fucking pick a fight with bandmates on it. All that's going to do.
We're unprofessional.
Yeah.
Now the real band guy that's having an issue right now is Dave Grohl. That's the guy who's having an issue right now.
Oh man, shots fired.
I disagree. It's part of listen, if I were a rock star, he put this in the public, and he didn't have to put it in the public domain. He put it in the public domain.
Well, no, what's making him bad is that she was 19 at the time, and she just had the baby.
But she's an adult.
That's legal.
Yeah, well, it's legal. It's just kind of creepy.
It's kind of creepy, but I mean, here's the thing. The dude legitimately looks like he's in his early 30s still. He doesn't look old. He's a rock star, and he knocked up a hot piece of trim. She was 19.
I'm not sure looks have a whole lot to do with it, but I tend to sympathize because when I was 42, 43, I had a 19-year-old girlfriend. It was not girlfriend, a girl I spent some time with for a couple of weeks. It wasn't like it.
Dirty fucking dog.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I miss you guys. I'm sorry.
Here's the deal. If you stumble into a high-class party and somebody offers you the best dish, like something you would not get in your low life, trailer park existence, you're going to say no? Oh, no, I don't want to taste what caviar tastes like.
You might if it's one of your daughter's friends. And that's like the
rumor.
Was it one of his daughter's friends?
That is the rumor.
I did not know that. I don't know if that'd be off, man. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm a young dad, right? Like, by the time my kid is hanging out with girls that are legal age, I'll only be like 38. So, I mean,
in all fairness, I'm trying. I'm Dave Grohl's lawyer here now.
Hey, speaking of that, guys. Speaking of that, I have to go back to this school and teach.
Right,
But
of
I
course
will.
you do. Yeah, this has gotten you all inspired to.
No, I have to go to recess and lunchtime.
All right, all
All
right.
right, I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Get out. I didn't even let him say goodbye.
Text us later. Text us later.
Yeah, fucking start writing your hate mail now. You just start. I'm just telling. I'll give you a subject line. You creepy old fuck. Me.
Okay. You're Dave Grohl's attorney. Go ahead.
Right. I'm trying to get like a jury nullification thing here. If you understand the male physiology and the biology of it, we do have two brains, and one brain is definitely stronger than the other. And it's easy to, if you're going to intellectualize it and say, if this is a friend of my daughter, that's a fair point. Until that incredibly hot friend of your daughter comes down and gets your dick hard. And then that intellectual part of it, I shouldn't do that. That's bad. That all goes right the fuck out the window. This brain is in charge, and I'll regret it later. But I'll be damned if I'm going to leave this lifetime without getting a piece of that. That's how it works. And so,
your argument about the two brains is right, but still, when it's your daughter's friend and it's
not your daughter, it's your daughter's friend, and you're hoping again at that point, this brain is saying, "You'll keep it quiet, nobody will find out."
Yeah, but at this point too, how long did he know that girl? And it's creepy. It's got a very creepy vibe to it.
Fair enough, creepy. But again, the creepy comes in this brain. This brain doesn't even know the concept of creepy. It just knows, you listen. This is your last chance to get a piece of pussy. This fine, and before you die, Dave.
No,
you got the two. You got Dave. You're not going to get a piece.
That argument doesn't hold water as well too, because you're talking about Dave Grohl, lead singer of the Foo Fighters, one of the biggest bands in the world. That guy has no problem getting trim. I mean,
I guarantee it. But in that moment, the voice is saying, you're not going to get a chance to get this kind of prime rib.
Well, no, his voice is probably saying, "Man, she swallows."
Oh, that too. Whatever. But again, the intellectual part of this is creepy. That lives in this brain, and this brain has been shut off. But all the blood is rushing to the other brain. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I urge you to put yourself in Dave Grohl's shoes, and listen. It's not his daughter; it's his daughter's friend. If you would bang her, hit that not guilty button, and let's move on. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Yep. And don't portray yourself as a good guy.
Right. Well, no. I've never ever portrayed myself as a good guy, and I don't know if Dave puts that out there. I'm a good guy. I don't think that's part of his branding. Some people put that on him. I don't think he put that on himself. But I rest my case and give it to the prosecution. Go ahead, put him in hell. Go ahead, Ron Kane for the prosecution. He rests his case too, Your Honor. Okay, we're out of here. He's not guilty.
If you're a man in your 50s and you're like going after your daughter's friend, that's.
I didn't know that he went off after her. Do we know that, or did she just show up, nipples hard, drunk a little, and maybe, and then doing stuff? Here's a.
So she would have been okay. Just say that when he first met her, she was 15 and he was 50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, creepy.
Tommy Chung is married to a girl he met when she was his babysitter. She was 13. It happens, man. It happens.
Yeah, and Jerry Lee Lewis banged his cousin.
And he killed him, right? That's how he got the nickname Killer. 3 of them. I think 3 different cousins ended up dead.
Elvis Presley. Yeah, I mean, definitely during those times, the 50s, 60s, and 70s, young trim was all the rage.
I'm not on the Dave Grohl is a bad guy. I'm not. If I'm on the jury, I'm saying, give him a pass. Give him a pass. I've been there. It can happen. It could happen to the best of them. And Ron Kane getting on his fucking high horse. Let him say that now, but I guarantee you, let's put the devil's bargain. Let's get the super hot fucking chick coming on.
There's too much puss out there to blow it all on your daughter's teenage friend.
Okay.
Especially at that level. I mean, Christ, if you can't pull a threesome every night, what the fuck is wrong with you in that position?
Well, maybe again, I'm just trying to put myself in that perspective because I have been in that perspective. You're not actually going out there looking for it, but the opportunity presents itself in that moment. I have been.
That's also an assumption that you're based that he's not out there looking for.
I know. I'm just saying because I have been in that position. This is what I'm saying. I was. How do I put this? Because this person might be listening to the program. One of my actual best friend was a drummer in my band, and he had a younger sister who was blossoming. When I say blossoming, this was a flower that had just like, and we were in a bar, and she happened to show up at the bar, and she was standing right next to me, and she starts like holding my hand. Like with my best friend over here, not seeing it, and she's like reaching down, holding my hand, and I originally push it away, and then she put her hand on my crotch. It took me a little while to push her hand away, but it kept coming back. Eventually, after time and time again that this was happening, things happened. And I had to go to him and say, listen, I know your sister's all grown up now. And I think I'm going to be with her.
Did you say it just like, hey, your sister's growing up now. She's a garbage can.
Oh, no, I did not. I did not say that. I ended up, being in a relationship with her for, I don't know, maybe 6 months, 7 months, while we were out in California pitching a record deal to David Geffen. She ended up getting pregnant by another guy. So that's how that. But yeah, it was like a very awkward time in my life. But I'm just saying, and my initial thought when that started happening was like, this is wrong. This is my best friend's sister. Don't do it. And again, this brain is very fucking powerful. Yeah,
that's still a little bit different than being a dad with a teenage daughter, and that's still different.
I'll grant you that. But again, having been almost his age when I had a very young girlfriend.
But I mean, the world is full of freaky.
When I found G.D. Fenderson with a dog and an empty container of peanut butter, I knew our nation would be tested. I was tested. As G.D. disgraced the laws of nature, I am not only saddened, but realized he is a sick son of a bitch.
What? Doing a dog, I think that crosses the line. Or having a dog lick peanut butter off you, or whatever you did. I think that does cross the line. I would put, if Dave Grohl did that, I would definitely urge the jury to convict. So convict G.D. Fenderson then.
Yeah, I love that clip just because the tone and inflection is so good.
Yeah.
I have to say that there's no video of me doing anything with the dog with the peanut butter. And he says he found an empty peanut butter jar. Okay. I have empty peanut butter jars in the house all the time because I eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
What kind of dog was it?
Well, I don't have a dog. The Reverend has a dog. I don't have a dog. The Reverend has.
No, we're not talking about your personal dog or the Reverend's dog. What dog was it that we were caught with when Barack walked in on you or whatever?
It wasn't my dog. I don't have a dog.
Oh, it wasn't my dog.
I mean,
not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying it wasn't my dog.
I don't have a dog.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, convict this son of a bitch. Give him the fucking death penalty and get him off.
I mean, we heard what Morgan Freeman said about you last week.
First of all, the dog's name was Skippy. I'm a GIF guy. So obviously nothing happened.
I want to comment on this. Not on that. No, this idea of sick creepiness. Sarah Talamash, well, I'm going to try to get on the program if I can. Again, she's been on the program before. Her special is out. Without giving away too much of the special, I think I can say one line that's in the special that it wasn't a punchline without like damaging the people's. First of all, it's a great special. Go out and watch it. One of the best specials in recent memory. But her husband is Joe List, and he was executive producing the thing. Now, consider this: she's literally 9 months pregnant. She's going to have cesarean, but she could literally her water could break on stage. She's that pregnant, doing a special, and he's executive producing it. So now you got expectant first-time father, the nervousness that comes with that, and the nervousness of executive producing your wife's special. So he's preoccupied, and he's the warm-up act also. So he's doing all these things, and he's really you could see the nervousness within him. And I never say goodbye to Govs. I won't. So you got that combination of nervousness in there. And I'm standing right next to him because I got there a little bit late and all the seats were taken. So I'm standing by the bar. Joe is standing right next to me when Sarah says the following line: I don't even like cum on my feet. Why would I want it on my face? And at that moment, that's not a punchline. The entire crowd, their head turned and looked at Joe List and looked at him like, you come on her feet, you sick fuck. But he was preoccupied. He didn't notice it. But now I'm standing right next to him and I'm feeling all that energy coming. That, you sick fuck look. He didn't even notice that it happened. But I did. And you can hear on the tape this audible gasp from me, like, oh, when she said, I don't even like cum on my feet. Why would I want it on my face? You could just feel the entire audience look at him and say, you sick fuck, you're coming on her feet, you weirdo.
I just think that's presumptuous of the audience to think it's just assume that it's his cum on her feet.
All right, so she's letting other men come.
We don't know how long ago this happened. You know, it could have happened 20 years ago before she met him.
All right.
Know? And it's like, no. And that could have been what broke it up. And that's why she went to him, because he says, look, I know your last boyfriend had this thing about coming on your feet. I promise not to come on your feet.
Well, I felt again, I almost wanted to take the lawyer position and like, hold on here, folks. Let's just understand, you know, you get things in your head. You want to try things. You've seen it in whatever, porn magazines or whatever. You just want to see what the buzz is about. But this whole idea of being comedy, I know, is supposed to be raw and honest. But when you're married to somebody and they're being, especially about intimate things, you have to, I think, in the back of your mind, know that you're kind of outing their kink a little bit when you're doing it, when you're talking about these things. He talks about his wife all the time in his act, and she talks about him. It's just for the audience. I do run to that assumption. Well, we're talking about what goes on between her and another famous person, but it felt weird. The entire room was thinking alike at that point because they all looked at him. They weren't looking at the stage anymore. They were looking back at him like, you coming on our feet. What's I don't know.
See, they're just being presumptuous. I'd have to, I don't know. They're just, what can I tell you? I don't like it when people jump to conclusions falsely. You know, if people make bad assumptions.
Get off your fucking high horse. You would have been one
First
of those
all,
people.
my horse has been sober for so fucking long, okay?
You would be one of those people who did whiplash so fast to look at him or judge him. We just saw you do it with Dave Grohl.
Who's Dave Grohl?
That's right. All right, I think we've driven this fucking right into the ditch again. We can blame GD. Fucking
GD Fenderson. So suck my dick.
Exactly. Thank you, Morgan. Anyway, we have a show tomorrow. I don't know who's on it. Do you care?
I don't know. So Kelly Carlin is not going to be on this show. She's going to be on your evening show.
Right, that's right. And you're not invited because you would drive it into a ditch, just like she just wrote to me. Yeah, we're on for Wednesday night. So
No, because I misunderstood. I thought she was coming on this show Wednesday, and that's what I told my wife. And my wife was excited. Now I have to tell her not to be so excited.
I wanted to get her to come on the show. Realize that this show is very early on the West Coast, and you know some people don't like to get up that early or try to present themselves to the public at least at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. So, yeah, that was presented. I would, you know what, I would prefer she'd be on the show, but you couldn't do it, so she's on the evening show. If you want to be part of it, I'll let you be part of it, but you just can't be intent on making me angry at you and wanting to kill you. Can you, if you want to be part of it? That's all.
I don't know what makes you angry. Actually, I don't care.
Oh yes, you do.
Yeah, actually, I don't care what makes you angry.
No, you do it on. No, you care, and you do it on purpose. Admit it. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what you see in this person is a guilty motherfucker. Hit the guilty button and let's move on.
No, first of all, I can't be a motherfucker and my mother be a skank. The two things just you can't be both.
Exactly. All right. Fucking so the invitation is out there. I hope, but yeah, there is a condition on it. You have to be on your best behavior and not piss Matt off. And you know, you do know.
I don't have a best behavior.
Ron. Exactly. All right. Get out of my room. Get out. I'm ending it. I'm ending it all. I tell you. Well, Jay Franz had some good information. I hope if you're a aspiring recording artist, country or not, you've learned something that you can apply to your career. In the meantime, we'll be back tomorrow with more of this nonsense. Don't forget to turn on your radio. Bye for now.